Hello, welcome along. It's the final round of the DVV Trophy Series from Lille in Belgium all that time ago. Remember the Krawatencross way back at the beginning of November. What a series this has been. What a season it's been in the world of cyclo-cross. It's quite hard to believe that we're into the final month. I always feel a little bit emotional when we get into February. But before we get into today's action, let's remind ourselves of the DVV Trophy so far. There you have it. What a series. And it is that rider, the new world champion, Celine Carmen Alvarado of Alpecin Fenix, that goes into the final round today with a 2-minute and 10-second advantage over Anna-Marie Horst. Jeremy Powers is with me to take you through today's action. Jeremy, welcome. There's a huge amount of excitement going into today. That newly crowned world champion, Celine Carmen Alvarado. I can see already on the chat on YouTube and Facebook that everyone's really looking forward to seeing her in that rainbow jersey. This is a big day for her, isn't it?
Definitely is, yeah. To be coming in, the new world champion on such a great run of form these last couple of months, and really just all season she's been tearing it up. It's going to be super fun to be able to see her new design as world champion, but also to just see how excited that she's going to be to do her first race as world champion. Anytime you take one of those jerseys, it feels really good to be out there showing it off and kind of relishing in this moment.
In terms of the DVV Trophy overall, as we said, it's done on a cumulative time. The only rider that's close, 2 minutes and 10 seconds between Celine and Anna-Marie in terms of general classification. So it's really looking at it in general terms, unless something goes disastrously wrong. The general classification is pretty well sewn up going into this final race.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the reality is that there is, there can be sometimes really close racing, but today it does look like Alvarado has a really good chance at taking this overall, like you said, unless something catastrophic happens. I think that we're going to be able to see her really enjoy this race today.
Right, let's have a look through today's course. It's a good one. I like this course. Let's have a look through the course that we've got today. There's not an awful lot of paved riding today, Jeremy. It's we've got 300 meters of road. We've got 1740 meters of forest road, 940 meters of sand.
Yeah, no, it's a great race. There's a lot of sand here. There's a lot of sandy downhill turns. There's a lot of very punchy sections. There's a big lake, which obviously is that's what they do a lot of these races at in Belgium. They do a lot of stuff over around these lakes, which is kind of where people will go and walk their dogs. And these trails are used all year long. But the riders come in and then they make up. They've got their material post, which is the pits. They've got a nice parking area. This race for me at the end of the season is super fun. It's not one that requires an exorbitant amount of like diesel power or like a heavy mud race. They've left that for the other parts of the year. Now we're on to this stuff where it's really fast, really punchy. Definitely a rider like Alvarado, Anna-Marie Worst are going to really enjoy this course because it's got so much explosivity and it'll really suit the younger riders today.
What's that feeling when you come into these races? We were in the Etias Cross in the week, the past Park Cross from Malhem, and then you come into this post Worlds because most riders would have been peaking for last weekend. Is it hard to mentally get yourself going again for this last month of racing?
It's always hard. It's always hard. And I think that these riders are definitely going to be finding that there's a overall, so there's going to be motivation from that because they'd like to sew up, whatever prizes and whatever prestige they have, be able to finish maybe in the top three or the top five. So there's that's going on. There's also this idea that, there are only a couple left. So I would sometimes write down like three to go, not that I was dreading it, just that we started training for this, in the middle of, beginning of July and it's now February. So you've been as a cyclocrosser, you don't race as long a races, but you race so frequently and so often, and there's very short breaks. So while it seems like there's not a huge opportunity to do a lot of to do big rests, it's like there's just races all the time. So you have to really pick your spots. And so at the end of the year, finding your motivation, finding your why as to why you got to keep going is definitely something that you got to write down a bit.
In terms of riders that we're looking for, we've literally just got the start list just before we came on air. It's generally what happens. But the riders that we're watching out for today, Katie Compton's on phenomenal form, isn't she? And if you were with us in the week
Yeah.
for the Etias Cross, a lot of viewers rather are going to be pretty surprised. A lot of riders might be as well to see Yara Castelline on the start list today. She took a massive tumble in the week, and she was saying yesterday on social media that the doctors have said that fractures haven't shifted, and she's going to start today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always tough. I mean, as a rider, you think sometimes that things are going to go a little bit better than they end up doing. You get out there on training and you're like, oh yeah, this is fine, going over the concrete bumps. But in races, sometimes things aren't necessarily as manicured. You have to really do a lot more to be able to race. And I think that not only that, I would just fear for her that if there is already a fracture or there is anything that's moving that's not, there functionally very, very, very well, that another rider could potentially crash. She could crash into that rider. There is a lot of danger. I'm surprised that the team greenlit her to be able to go out there with a fracture so close to the end of the season, but she had said that she really wants to fight for her overall classification, which I completely understand. So it's not just that she's got this opportunity to continue to race because the team said it was okay or her doctor said it was okay. It's also that there's probably a significant financial reward for her to continue to race, as well as her wanting to make sure that she finishes out her season as strong as she possibly can. Because as we both know and we've followed along, it's been a beautiful season for her all year.
As we saw in that roundup, winning that Koppenberg Cross and that European title, we saw her win as well. So, yeah, one of the riders of the season, arguably. Today as well, Anna Kay is clearly on great form post-Worlds. Marion Norbert-Rieberholder looked a little bit tired in the week for me, Marion Norbert-Rieberholder. I don't know what you think. Ellen Van Looy, though, in these sort of races, is always kind of there and thereabouts in terms of that top 10 overall. Alvarado, though, we saw her winning that last round as well, that Brussels cross, which she won last year. It's going to be difficult to look beyond her taking the victory today. But do you think there might be a little bit of a battle there, a bit of a revenge match between her and Hurst today for that win?
Yeah, I mean, you got to think when you're a world champion and you've just won your first world title, the amount of obligations that you would have, the amount of attention and the amount of publicity and press that you would need to do as newly crowned world champion. So I wouldn't say Alvarado's a shoo-in for the win necessarily in that way, but she's got great form. But I definitely would say that she could be, if she was tired, I wouldn't be surprised, just because it's like, winning the world championships of cyclocross is essentially our equivalent to winning the Tour de France. There's a lot that goes into that, especially in the Netherlands and Belgium. There's so many people that want her time right now, and I'm sure she's feeling it. Although I did see a post on her Instagram where she was out having breakfast, eggs, and something else with her mother the other day. So riders that I think would have a shot here, Inge van der Heijden would definitely be someone that really surprised me over the weekend. She got, during the week at Malbehem, she was able to get second place there. So she's young. She's very, she's got a lot of snap. So this would be a good course for her. And then, of course, Ava Lechner would also be a rider that I would consider to have a really good opportunity on this very punchy course that would suit her well as well.
For Inga, it almost looked in the week like there was a sort of relief of pressure in a way, even though she doesn't race week in, week out in that World Champions under 23 jersey, to have that title and then not to have to look at that jersey every day. You kind of, it's on the wall, or you kind of put it to bed in a way. Do you think it's for Inga that stepping stone as an under 23 and riders like her, that you've got to now, okay, let's move on. I've won that title. Now I have to put the next building blocks in place in order to start to win these races as an elite.
Yeah, I think it's all fun. I mean, at least for me, when I was racing, I was just like, yeah, this is great. Like, this is beautiful. You know, if you're national champion or if you're Pan American champion, and there was the two jerseys that I held while I was racing during my career, I just genuinely enjoyed being able to look at them and to know that that was a day that I was able to have. And I think that for her, she's got a very long career ahead of her. You know, to be able to have been world champion has got to be such a privilege. Not one that I had, but like one that everyone dreams of. So to be able to have been world champion, I think is just one of those situations where you're like, yeah, this is beautiful. I'm sure that she's feeling a little bit of pressure release from not having to be the world champion and live up to this expectation that she's the best under 23 in the world when she's racing against, you know, riders like Celine Del Carmen Alvarado and so on and so forth. So I think that that definitely is a pressure release for sure for her.
Now, one rider we're going to see in a different kit. We'll go over to start line pictures shortly. But Sanne Cant today, now in the Belgian champions jersey from the world's champions jersey. She's kind of, I think, going to have to look at how this season's gone and go away and kind of almost, would you say, change things up for next season? Because there has been a big shift this winter.
I mean, a lot of young riders coming in. You know, we've seen the changing of the guard sort of happen with the men's, men's racing a couple of years ago. That's definitely happening and is in full effect in the women's side. I mean, we're seeing riders that 2 or 3 years ago weren't really on the scene, and now there's a completely different group of women who are at the front, who are racing, who are competing for the wins week in and week out. And the sport's changed a lot. You know, I mean, Sanne Cant has had an incredible career. She started so young that I wouldn't, if she said tomorrow, hey, I'm done, we'd all be like, great, we've got about 15 years of memories of her doing, winning every race multiple times, back to back, all of this. So I think that it will be interesting to see if the fire comes back for her after she is not world champion any longer, and to see how she deals with the setback of the season. I'm sure by her own measure, it was not the season that she had hoped for.
Not at all. And she hasn't been off the podium in 10 years, apparently, in this race, Sanne Cant. So, yeah, so that's quite an impressive stat. Don't forget, before we go to live pictures, make sure you subscribe to GCN Racing. Hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. Just get subscribing. Hit that bell icon as well so you're notified every time that we upload a new video. A lot of you ask on the comment sections all the time, how can you help get more cyclocross here on GCN Racing? That's how you do it. Keep subscribing, keep sharing, keep letting everyone know that we're here. Hitting that bell icon as well, and we'll do our best to keep building over the course of the summer into next season. So, yeah. Hit that one. We're going to go down to the start line. There's your roll call of honor as it disappears. So 2019, 2018, Sanne Cant, Mount Captains back in 2017. In 2016, it was the Belgian Championships. And that was back-to-back wins between 2014 and 2016 for Sanne Cant. Marianne Vos, 2012, 2013. Sanne Cant in 2011. And Daphne van der Brand in 2009. There's Jolien Verschuren, who's just having a little glance over the top of everybody there. Alongside her, Tina Vermeeren. There's Sanne Cant now in the Belgian National Champions jersey. All the riders on the start. There's your first glimpse of your new world champion from the long shot. Ava Lechner, one of Jeremy's tips today. Katie Compton is on great form the back end of the season. There's your new world champion, Celine Del Carmen Alvarado from Alpecin Fenix. Annemarie Hoer, silver medalist. Anna Kay right behind her. Rebecca Farringer, you can see there for Kona. Here's Yara Castelline. What a total legend. You can see she has made a tough stuff behind her. Marion Norbert Rieber on a Sanne Cant. There she is in her Belgian champions jersey. Annick van Alphen is there. There's Laura Verdonschot. Inga van der Heijden here. Shirin van Anrooy, you can see there with the Lotto and the Sesamel on the jersey. And here on the start line, Lucia Gonzalez Blanca from Nesta Skoda Alacar from Spain, the Spanish champion. We are almost ready to go. Get involved over on our comment sections. Let's hear from you. Where are you watching us today? Watch the lights. Here we go. The final round of the DVV Insurance Trophy from Lille. Will it be a day for the world champion? Lights go red. Watch the start. Away we go. Straight down the center of the road. Anne-Marie Hurst alongside her. Celine Del Carmen Alvarado. Katie Compton just settles in on the wheel of the world champion. Ava Lechner, Alicia Frank, and Male Captains on the right of your picture. Marion Norbert Ribeirol is there in French champion's jersey. Remember, it's just 300 meters of road in this whole course as Annick van Alphen gets a phenomenal start there. Does Annick van Alphen? There she is, wearing number 24. Great start for the rider from Kleur op Map BNS Technics. Remember, she's the rider. She bunny hops the planks. You can see Harriet Harnden there, the British champion. For you British fans, she's got her new British champions jersey. She's wearing 63, but it's Van Alphen, Hurst, Alvarado, Compton, Van der Heijden, Cant, Kay, Lechner, and Norbert Riberola is your order. Jeremy, what a phenomenal start there from Annick van Alphen.
Yeah, Annick van Alphen is absolutely tearing it up. It's great to see these young riders, like we were just talking about at the start, going for it, really putting themselves out there in the wind, not afraid to take the start. It's awesome to see these new jerseys from Sanne Cant coming out, as well as, of course, Riberola's French jersey, as well as the new world champ with Alvarado there. Super cool to be able to see those in display, and all these national champs jerseys out at the front. There's Ava Lechner coming in on the inside as they drop into this first sand section of the course today, Marty.
Talk about tyre choice, tyre pressure today in terms of the difference here from the forest roads to the deep sand. It's what's everyone looking at tyre-wise, would you say, today for a course like this?
Yeah, I think somewhere in those high teens, low 20s for PSI. I think that there's a good sense of there's really sharp turns. So like we talked about on Wednesday, it'd be great to have a tire that had a stiffer sidewall, something that was able to kind of take the lower pressure, but also not just blow out underneath you, as you see with just the traditional cotton tires. But I think that the riders, they go up, they work with their managers, they work with their mechanics, they know exactly what they need, and they'll probably be dialing that in over the course of the day today.
Van Alphen just dropping back slightly. It was Hurst from Alvarado that got the steps first. There's Marion Norbert Ribeirol, the French champion, leading the Italian champion as Katie Compton runs onto the back of those riders just in front of her. There's Van Alphen. There's your Belgian champion, Sanne Cant. Norbert Ribeirol here from Experza just gets onto the back. Yara Castellan, good start from her. Ellen Van Looy, Lara Verdonschot, and then Manon Bakker. And that's quite seeing Manon Bakker there in the black skin suit. And Jeremy, Manon Bakker, we got the press release from the team in the week and let go from her team for being pictured using a different set of wheels at the Worlds.
Ooh, that is spicy. That's spicy. That's I see it. I do. From having owned a team that managed riders, there's some very clear rules. My sense would be that it wasn't just one thing that's happened. And my other sense would be that they had a conversation about it beforehand. Again, this is completely speculative, but I would say that, typically riders want to use a pair of wheels that they feel more confident or they think are better for the World Championships. They want to use a tire that they feel more confident in. They want to use a pair of glasses that, we truly have heard and seen it all. Whether it's training, your job as a team manager is really to manage your athlete. You know what I mean? And that's the hardest thing sometimes, is that it's all for the athlete until it comes down to the sponsorships. And it's at that point where that's who makes this world turn. The sponsors allow us to be able to do these things. And when it's a technical sponsor, an equipment sponsor, being a professional is finding a way to be able to use that equipment despite whatever condition it's in or whatever reliability it has. That's on the team to make sure that they can do their job with it. But outside of that, it's the rider's job as a professional to be able to use that equipment week in and week out. As we see here, Marty, Anne-Marie Hurst taking the bull by the horns here, riding from the front and really making sure that she feels like she can maybe make up for what happened at the World Championships. It was such a close race that I feel like Anne-Marie Hurst really has, I hate to say this, she has something to prove in these last weeks of the season.
There you go. Thanks to all of you for getting on board. Shouty Fonz is back. Type it in capitals as always. He's completely obsessed with how we say Anne-Marie Hurst, as we always say. We do our best with that one. And I've even got it on my phone. I've got it from the recording that Jeremy did. Always types in capitals. Holly Carson, thanks. Shout out to you in New Hampshire. Jeffrey Burgess from Denia Costa Blanca in North Spain. Stevie G, thanks for getting on board. Robert Segerkrantz from Finland. Daniel Doan, great start for Faringer Yes, she has indeed. Colin Berry getting on board. Thanks for all of you for saying hi. Anna Kay, bunny hopping the barriers. Annick van Alphen right behind her. Good to see them bunny hopping those and getting a little run in to those. There's Manon Bakker going through in the black. Yara Castelline in your European Champions jersey. Shirin van Anrooy here had a great start midweek and went down in that crash with Yara Castelline, went down quite heavily as you go back to the front of the race. Celine Del Carmen Alvarado, your new world champion. Annemarie Hurst is with her. Sanne Cant just moving up. Looks like Sanne Cant has got the bit between her teeth today. Katie Compton right behind her with Anna Kay locked in and ready. Into the sand, they just dropped down through that section.
I have to say, Marty, I think that there is a lot of determination in this front court 3, 4, 5 riders. I would say that when I look at it, I see a brand new world champion that wants to solidify and win the first race as world champion. I see Annemarie Worst, who really believes that she had an opportunity that she missed and wishes she could do the world championships all over. We've got a very much a reinvigorated, determined Sanne Cant behind, chasing in third place, that wants to make sure that she solidifies her season with a course that she absolutely loves and has won at so many times over her career. And she's now repping that Belgian national champs jersey. So she's got a little bit of fire and she's feeling like she's got a good day on her shoulder. So yes, I think we've got a great race in our hand today.
Fast bike change there for Katie Compton. All riders down on the corner. Manon Bakker goes down. Ellen Van Looy goes down with her. Shirin van Anrooy here just moves over the top up onto the wheel of Yara Castelline. Oh, as Lucia Gonzalez Blanco goes down on that corner as well. Through the wooded section, our front group. You got a quartet. Let's have a little replay. Bakker just slides out there onto that corner as Ellen Van Looy just gets delayed. Castelline swiftly off the bike and back on. Van Anrooy just moves up. She's heading over to Telenet Baloise Alliance next year. Getting a little replay here as well as Annick van Alphen just goes into that corner. Let's have a look at the front. Alvarado goes down on the corner, delays Annemarie Hurst, brings everyone to a halt behind him. That's kind of what we talk about quite a bit, Jeremy, in terms of when you're at the head of the race, in terms of if you have a problem, everyone behind you is going to get delayed as well.
That's right. Well, these two riders there at the front know each other very well. Obviously, they've studied each other. They could write a book about how the other rides. At this point right now, Annemarie Worst is checking things out and taking a look to see how Alvarado is riding this course, what she's doing, where she's strong, where she's not. She's going to take a note for these coming laps to make sure that she sees that she's at the front for these sections that Alvarado's having a hard time executing and riding through. But Alvarado's clearly at the front, feeling the prestige of being the world champion today.
Yeah, it's got to be a special day. Kayan van Alphen going through. There's Inge van der Heijden just going through your picture. The world champion at the head of the race here. So it really has been the sensation over the last couple of seasons as Alvarado has a glance across here. Sanne Cant from Eco Creelan, with Anna Kay right behind her. So let's have a little replay. Has someone else gone down on that corner? A little slide out there, little coming together. Oof. Thought they got through there, gone down pretty heavy on that corner as Meg de Bruyne. And that was an unlucky one for Meg de Bruyne. Oof. Went down pretty heavy there. Out of that corner, just a little coming together. At the end of lap one. Yeah, in the lap one, it's Celine Del Carmen Alvarado leads through 8:52. The gap's pretty minimal at the moment, so just to try and click through there to 5 seconds to Sanne Cant, Anna Kay, Annick van Alphen, Inge van der Heijden in 6th. They're just starting to get establish a small gap. These riders behind Sanne Cant, Anna Kay, van Alphen and van der Heijden have got to close this one down. Compton goes through at 14, Norbert Riberol at 16, then Yara Castelline right behind her. Look at this, pressing on at the front. Alvarado looks phenomenal, doesn't she? Annemarie Hurst just goes through. Mikkel Page, hopefully just saying hi. Val Ward checking in from Calgary. Thanks for saying hi Rudiger Sasser also checking in. Stuart Davis asking where does the term hot dog turn come from? I use hot dog turn. It's kind of something I picked up from the Aussie crits, where you have a 180-degree turn. So we always kind of called them, and there's courses here in the UK as well, when it was a 180-degree direct turn like this, kind of like a hot dog. Do you use that term, Jeremy, over there in the US, hot dog turn?
Well, I see your point. I can't say it's one that I use, but I have ones that you don't use either. I say bull by the horns, bending the tape. I mean, I got quite a few here that I like to use, and who knows why. But yeah, we each pick up our thing. But I like hot dog turn. I mean, sometimes I think of a hot dog in a turn when you say it, but that's fine. It's fine. A hot dog in a turn. That way you have to bend, you have to move around. Hot dogs are a thing. They're beautiful. Let's just call it what it is. As we see, the UCI Kills Cross is back there with that sign. That guy's been out there. Same way we get in the comments. Someone has a real thing for the UCI. They got a stone, an axe to grind. But it's Anna Marie Worst here using the fast feet, taking the front over, now showing off some of her lines. And then behind her is Alvarado, and then Sanne Cant taking up the chase with Inga van der Heijden and Anna Kay also there. And we see a lot of experience in this rider here. Sanne Cant knows this course inside and out. She might not be able to match the determination of Alvarado and Anna Marie Worst today, but she's able to use her experience to propel her up and really get get on the podium. That would be a fantastic result. Getting third place here today for Sanne Cant, I feel like would be a win as far as I'm concerned.
I love the battle between these two. It's quite reminiscent of Wout van Aert and Mathieu van der Poel. The way they battle, the way Celine's going through it, it's got that kind of Wout Mathieu kind of esque. The way they just are always forcing each other through, forcing their way back through to the front.
These riders are pushing each other up. If there wasn't an Alvarado, there wouldn't be an Anna Marie Worst that was as determined, right? That's Camille Vandenberg, the 777 manager that's looking out, giving Anna Marie Worst some advice there, potentially about settle back, let her ride her race, think about this spot, consider this, consider that. So she's just giving her a little bit of tips, which Alvarado may or may not hear, depending on how loud he's being. But these little things can kind of just, as you're very focused, you're going around the course, you hear these things, and then you have plenty of time to be able to think about them. If Camille Vandenberg is giving just a small piece of advice, whether that's think about running this section instead of riding it, Anna Marie Worst, it comes through after a minute of riding. She's like, okay, right, I know what he's saying now, I'll try that. So she's just right now, she's watching, but there's so much pride in these riders. They're the best riders of the season. They're 1 and 2 in almost every race. Yes, we had Inga van der Heijden won some races. We had several different riders come in, do well, but we have not seen the domination that we've seen from these two riders. So there's a lot of pride on the line, and Anna Marie Worst, like I said, I think she really felt like she had an opportunity to win the World Championships. She missed that opportunity, and she's going to want to try to solidify who she is and convince herself that she's still the best or one of the best riders in the world.
Yeah, there you have it. There's your rider there, Yara Castelline. If we go through the DVV Trophy so far, all the way back to Koppenberg, it was Yara Castelline that took that from Anna Marie Worst and Alicia Maria Arzuffi. Celine Del Carmen Alvarado 6th on that day. Then we moved on to the Flandrian Cross in Hamar. It was Worst from Sanne Cant and Celine Del Carmen Alvarado. In that one, we then went on to Kortrijk. It was Lucinda Brand from Alvarado and Worst on that occasion. Sanne Cant was 4th there. Then we went on to Ronsa. It was Alvarado from Worst from Castelline. Evie Richards getting up there in that one. On to Lowenhout. Alvarado taking that one by 1 minute and 45 seconds. She took Ronsa by 21 seconds. So 1 minute 45 second victory in Lowenhout for Alvarado as Worst comes back through to the front to the podium there. Alvarado, Cant and Worst. We then moved on to Basel on the 1st of January. Celine Del Carmen Alvarado from Lucinda Brand, 56 seconds. Anna Marie Worst here, 1 minute and 4 down in 3rd place on that occasion. Then on to the Brussels Uni, and I'll give you the times because remember the DVV Insurance Trophy overall is done on a cumulative time. Alvarado taking it by 9 seconds from Worst. Sanne Cant on the podium there at 1 minute and 12. And that, if you weren't with us at the top of the program, Alvarado leading Worst by by 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Yara Castelline third at 10:21. Ava Lechner fourth at 12:05. Sanne Cant is fifth at 12:41. Arzufi is sixth at 12:49. Then Ellen Van Looy Arzufi just coming around the corner, sandwiched between the French and Italian champions. Ellen Van Looy is at 14:57. Compton's at 18:02. Van der Steen is at 19:26. And then Capablanca Vas at 23:55. So that is the way it goes. Oh, Anna Kay going down on the same corner that's posed a few riders problems so far in this race. Just getting a little bit slippy on the sand through that section. Let's just have a little replay going in, super hot there. Annick van Alphen comes to a halt there. So it's looking pretty dicey, that section.
Yeah, that section for some reasons giving riders a hard time. You know, I think that when you each rider will start to know, hey, this is a corner where I have to go a little bit wider. I have to use a bigger part of the course, and it's not working with the line that's already in there. Here we're getting another replay of this. Oof, and now we're seeing that happen as well. It looks like, I can't really tell, but it does look like there is a rut there that then sort of disappears. You see the rider's front wheel comes up a little bit higher. So there was a rut there that existed that seems like it might have just kind of spliced itself away and has now turned into something that's just slick on the top with a little bit of with just kind of time and with the riders that are riding it the way that they're coming in. The men's race and probably throughout the women's race, a new rut will form, and that will change. What we see now, like I said at the start, Marty, Inge van der Heijden is now starting to really separate herself. Katie Compton is settling into fourth place as this race goes along. It's dangerous for Inge van der Heijden to see Katie Compton there, the older, being a bit older. She's got to warm the engine up. She's got to get those glow plugs going, but she's running those stiffer tires. Yeah, it's true. It's true. She's got that diesel engine. So as she comes in, that's going to be a threat to Inge van der Heijden's third place. But van der Heijden have a very strong, good end to her year, and she with that second place during the week, I think that she's got a lot of momentum, and she's got a lot of she's got a good opportunity here to land on the podium.
I think Katie, on the course of the back end of this season, is really she looks like almost rejuvenated in a way in the racing recently. Van Alphen, Sanne Cant going through this section as Alvarado and Horst are heading towards the line. Gregory Clift asking, is this Alvarado's first ride in the rainbow stripes? Yes, it is. And how good does she look in that? Look at that new rainbow jersey on the front. Inge van der Heijden, Katie Compton right behind. Van Alphen is right there, so they've got them in their sights, but remember, these are cyclo-cross sized gaps. Ellen Van Looy just going through your picture there. Van der Heijden, Katie Compton tuck it in, trying to get back up to the CCC live rider. As Compton goes through, then a little gap back now to Sanne Cant. Annick van Alphen has a little glance back over the shoulder. Here comes Shirin van Anrooy with Yara Castelline battling. And just to put it into perspective in terms of the general classification overall. So Yara Castelline in fourth. So as we said, she sits at 12:05 as Arzufi, Lechner and Kay go through. Anna Kay just dropped a few spots there. If you don't start, your penalty is 5 minutes. So because it's done on a cumulative time through the course of the season, if you don't start, if you don't ride or you don't finish, you get penalized that 5 minutes. So Yara Castelline, for that reason, wants to defend that position from she would drop to around, well, Katie Compton's at 18:02, so those 5 minutes she would drop to about 7th overall if she didn't take the start. So she went down pretty hefty in the week, and there she is, and shows just how tough bike riders are. Yara Castelline, European champion for 777. John Paul Lopez Taberto. It's just after midnight in Australia. Big respect to you. It's great to know where you're watching us around the world here today on GCN Racing. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up. That helps with the interweb jiggery pokery and all that kind of stuff that we need. Get subscribing to the channel as well. We really appreciate it if you would do that. Jeremy and I are back tomorrow with the Super Prestige from Hoogstraten. Not much cyclocross to come, but we've still got quite a few races over the course of the final month. We've got Middelkerke, we've got Hulst, we've got Leuven still to come in those in the weeks to come. We've also got the likes of the Jaco Herald Sun Tour. We're live with the Tour de la Provence next week from Thursday to Sunday, so loads coming up here on GCN Racing. Shin Van Amroy, your new Junior World Champion. Wouldn't it be great to see her racing in that Junior World Champions jersey? I will check in with Katarina Nash, who posted on Twitter earlier on in the season if we had any suggestions for her as a representative at the UCI, and that was mine. I've been boring people for about 10 years in terms of letting those world champions of various levels wear their jerseys, and Marion Norbert Riverola would be another one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if
Alvarado goes down.
Alvarado just pushing it a little bit too fast here, just unfortunately brings that gap back to Annemarie Worst. Now, again, this is that type of course, and you can see there Camille Vandenberg now giving that rider that attention. But here we go. We're getting a replay of this. Boom, just too not quite right on how she brought it in there. But the sand, Marty, the thing that I'll say about it, it seems like today is that it's really, really soft in certain corners. The riders think that they have the confidence of riding the rut, but the ruts are not holding the riders up. So that means that there's not a lot of moisture in the sand in this track today, but that's going to definitely slow down, take a little bit of the wind out of the sails of Celine Del Carmen Alvarado and allow Annemarie Worst now to kind of work her magic here at the front as Annemarie grabs that post, decides that she's just going to run this one section, which is going to force Celine Del Carmen Alvarado to have to slow down, but Alvarado, wearing that World Champs jersey, decides, you know what, I'm not good with that. I'm going right back to the front. I think that I'm the best rider on the day, and I'm going to race this from the front.
Crafty Pixel checking in. Another one of you checking in from Australia. Just to let you know as well, Marty McDonald and Jeremy Powers with you today. Ant's my older brother, and yeah, he's not here today. Carl Kovacs checking in from Indianapolis, Indiana. Thanks for checking in. Carl, know it well. Spent a good summer there racing. Long time ago. Long time ago. Rode some great races over there in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yara Castelline, 777. You can just see just a little bit mindful of that injury that she's got. These two pushing it to the limit. Alvarado and Worst constantly just checking across just to see where the nearest challenges are in this one. And these two epic battles this year. Inge van der Heijden, she looks like she's closing the CCC Live rider. If the two riders ahead of her start to look around at each other, Inge could get back on. Katie Compton, this is almost Compton territory here though, Jeremy, that looking at how Katie's ridden over the last few weeks, she can close
Definitely.
this, I think.
Definitely. Like I said, you know, I think that she's been on great form, you know, racing at the World Cup in France. As we see a little bit of chin music there as Sanne Cant comes through. Sanne Cant not playing any games today. She wants to take a good result here. She's got good legs. She loves this course. As we see these two at the front just going back and forth. But getting back to Katie Compton, Marty, I think that there is an opportunity here for her. She smells blood in the water. She thinks that there's an opportunity to be on the podium. And for Katie, you know, to be able to be at the front at her age, racing consistently, you know, it just says that she wants to do another year. She wants to do another year. She's feeling like she's still got a lot to contribute here. She's racing at the front, and I mean, what can we say? It's almost as though Katie Compton is timeless. She can do it when she wants to do it. As we see here, this replay of Sanne Cant, and yeah, just kind of coming in there and be like, hey, I'm on your inside. She's got a little bit more momentum, and she just wants to come through and make sure that she's not getting held up.
I love that little bit of chin music. We'll have to keep that one. Back to the head of the race. Annemarie Worst and Celine Alvarado. I know a lot of you from the comments, you're loving the battle between these two riders. Former World Under-23 World Champion now with the current Elite World Champion. Van der Heijden is acting as a little carrot for Katie Compton, just try and get her way back up to the front. Van Anrooy and Sanne Cant locked in their own battle just behind. Looking good. Great to see the Junior World Champion battling it with the multiple World Champion. Philip Miller asking to meet the presenter episode with me. Yeah, I'm not that important. I don't get one of them. And the great shot here through these different sections, and the riders going down in the sand. If you don't ride, I ride sand a lot. Where I ride, it's very sandy. Some of the riders are going to be picking sand out of their teeth for most of the week now. Van Alphen well out of that corner. Annick Van Alphen kicks it up that section. Yara Castelline is there. There's Alicia Maria Arzufi with Anna Kay just behind. It's going to be difficult to call this, isn't it?
I'll tell you, each of these riders on one section or another is choosing, is really pushing the other. So we see one section where Celine Del Carmen Alvarado takes the front, has a mistake. Then we see one where Anna Marie Worst takes the front, she has a mistake, and so on and so forth. It is definitely, these riders are evenly matched today. I would say it looks like Alvarado's on slightly better form overall right now with the way that the course is riding. But Anna Marie Worst has taken a lot of notes, and she's making and forcing Alvarado to have to get off her bike and run with it as well. So there's definitely a lot of mind games going on. As I look at this, you can see that there's certain sections that look like they're faster to run, which is why you see the riders running these downhills like that. You see there Ava Lechner coming through. Just riding this, I'm sure that it's possible to ride some of these sections, but it's not consistently possible. So they can ride it one time and pre-ride, but instead of doing that, they're just getting off, running with their machines so that it's a consistent, they know what they're going to get every single time throughout the race. As we see there, Katie Compton coming through now on Inger van der Heiden's wheel, looking at that third place spot. She's riding, Marty, those tires that I was talking about, those red sidewall tires. That's going to be that double reinforcement with the latex sidewalls. As you see Alvarado looking back now, seeing that Katie Compton and Inger van der Heiden are getting closer.
They're just going through the line. Hopefully they're going to, here we go. I was just about to say, going around at the end of lap 3 of 5. 25:46 is your time, so we're going on to lap 4 of 5. Penultimate lap here, bit of a gap now. So Katie Compton's up to Van der Heiden. They are at 9 seconds, and Van Anrooy looking good. Closing that gap down is Sharon Van Anrooy. Managed to get away from Sanne Cant there, so the young junior world champion distancing them. Annick van Alphen is the next rider going through, so some real outstanding seasons so far. Sanne Cant, Yara Castelline, Azufi going through, with Anna Kay's going to round out the top 10 here. Then you've got Betsema, you've got Lechner, Sells, Verdonschot is your next group going through. So there's Laura Verdonschot. We saw her going down. Ellen van Looy leading the next group on the road. Lucia Gonzalez Blanco, it looks like, right on the back of that group. So Katie Compton and Inger van der Heiden, Sharon Van Anrooy just gradually clawing her way back up. You can see here, this rider is going to get a big boost, I'm sure, when she moves over to Telenet Baloise Alliance in the summer for next season. Few shout-outs, Mara Weber from Verona in Italy, cheering on Ava Lechner and Zufi and the Italians today. So thanks all of you for getting on board here. As Sharon Van Anrooy could get up to this group. Zebster checking in from Saskatchewan, to my favourite place in the world. That's the best name of a place in the world. Alvarado on the exit of that bridge there, Jeremy, just a few metres now over Anna Marie Worst. Even after the Worlds, she would almost feel, would you say, that she needs to get away from her biggest rival?
Absolutely, but this is, what are great shots we're getting here. You can see that flyover, that metal man-made flyover is just so, you can see kind of how sharp it is and the lines that are on it and the way that the riders have to use it. They have to double step to be able to get up it. Then we saw Alvarado try to ride that section that we just saw Van Android there at was able to ride it, but then got to the top and washed out that front wheel. Here you can see that deep line. They come around this turn, and then they have to get off, boom, 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 but we were able to see Alvarado ride it. But when she got right here, her front wheel came out. So you can just see, Marty, that's the little stuff on this course. It's all in the details, and it's going to come down to a rider that's able to master this one with precision and able to put it all together one lap, but then a second lap, because the gaps here don't open up very quickly. It's such a sharp, tight course. There's not a lot of areas, as we again see Camille Vandenberg sitting in one spot, just giving his rider, Anna Marie Worst, the intel that she knows. She looks back at him. She actually realizes what he's saying, and she's like, okay, I've heard what you said, and I'm on it. So, as we see, just like I was saying, Katie Compton, unfortunately, takes a digger, goes down in one of those turns, thinking that the rut's going to hold her up. It doesn't, and she's on the ground, but that'll be no problem for someone with as much experience as Katie Compton. She'd be able to get right back and going very quickly.
Oof, another dive bomb there from Alvarado. Let's have a little replay. Compton washes out on that corner, as you saw the fight constantly just swinging backwards and forwards between Worst and Alvarado at the head of the race as Van der Heiden gets back on. You just saw the way Celine Del Carmen Alvarado wrestled her way through on the inside of that turn. and got to the front, and there's the gap. Look at the advantage now for Celine del Carmen Alvarado. Hurst is now on the back foot. She's got some work to do to try and come back. That was a gutsy move there by Celine del Carmen Alvarado. Just fought her way through to the front. Katie Compton, you can see, has got a mouthful of sand after that little tumble.
Definitely. It's going to be for Anna-Marie Worst now to match this effort. So the world champion, Celine del Carmen Alvarado, has laid down some power here on the backside of the course on the one section where there is quite a bit of pedaling. She's taking this opportunity to see if she can open it up. She's got about 15 more minutes of racing left. She's trying to open up a gap to see if she can distance herself from Anna-Marie Worst and really take this first win in the world champs jersey. But Anna-Marie Worst, she knows that this is her moment where she has to match this effort. This is what it's all about. This is what cyclocross is. It's one rider goes, the other rider has to match, and it looks like Anna-Marie Worst is up for the challenge. She wants to try to put her name on the post, as that world championship was just one of the races of the season, and she wants to see if she can take the victory here today in Lille at the DVV.
Just saw Lucia Gonzalez Blanco, the Spanish champion, is riding well here today. Alvarado has a glance back at Anna-Marie. What a great season that they are having, these two. I'm sure you're loving watching the evolution of the battle between these two riders. You just see dropping down into the sand here. Just to give you a little notification as well, the men's race starts on the hour, so in just about 3/4 of an hour time. But we've got such an exciting race here. You not want to look away for a moment in this one. Katie Compton trying to get herself back up to the junior world champion, just ahead of her. Jules checking in from Mexico. Thanks for saying hi. Dylan Wynne-Jones getting on board as well. Stuart Ferguson, thanks for your comments from New Hampshire. Good to have you there. Sanne Cant just gets up to Alice Maria Arzufi. Alice, for me, again, needs a little bit of work so far over the course of the summer into next season on those starts. I think for Alice Maria Arzufi, would you agree?
I think there's a lot of things. You know, each of these riders grows every year. You know, they're not all going to come into the season with everything that they have, but you know, there's an opportunity for them to be able to work on things over the course of the year. As we see now at the front, it is Alvarado running that section, but Anna-Marie Worst matching her. That's going to get into the head, Marty, of Alvarado. The fact that she laid down an attack. She tried to soften Anna-Marie Worst up by seeing what's possible. Anna-Marie Worst matches that attack. That's definitely going to play into how these tactics come out and change the potentially change the outcome now if Anna-Marie Worst decides that she's going to have a go at the front and lay down an attack, and Alvarado's going to have to match that.
This is the battle royale we have going on here for the podium. The former world under-23 cyclocross champion against the newly crowned first ever historic junior women's world champion in Shirin van Alroy. She is again another incredible multidisciplined rider, great time trialist, European time trial junior champion on the road, medalist at the World Junior Championships in the time trial. So a great battle between those two for the podium. Arzufi is gradually just carving her way through the field. There's the Belgian champion, Sanne Cant, behind, but Van der Heijden has got a battle on her hands here for the podium. That is an impressive ride. The way Shirin van Alroy, little by little, Jeremy, lap after lap, just clawed her way back up towards the front. So the fight here for the podium places, first and second, the battle for the third and fourth positions. This is, phenomenal.
Yeah, it is a great race, and one of the things that I'll say about Van Enroy is that I saw Sven Nys in that same corner where Camille Vandenberg is giving Anna-Marie Worst information is exactly where I see Sven Nys hanging out in a black coat, giving advice to his newly signed rider. So it's going to be interesting to see how she takes that advice and if she's able to take over from on Inga van der Heijden, as we see Katie Compton coming through that massive rut there, and we see now Anna-Marie Worst on the front. She's looking fatigued, but she definitely knows what this race means. She wants to win. She's got those blue stripes, designating that earlier in the year she was wearing that European champions jersey that then handed over to her teammate Yara Casterline, but she knows that she's the under-23 world champion. She's the elite European champion. She's been in the top of the rankings all year, and she wants to see in this last round, can she dislodge Alvarado, or can she take her to the line and have a second shot at redoing that sprint from the World Championships?
You just saw they just started to look around at each other as they went into the bell. Van der Heijden and Van Anrooy can't look around at all, or Katie Compton will be right back with them. You can see Sharon Van Anrooy here going through the line. She's already got the massive flags, the custom fan club flag along the side there. You can see with the junior world champion.
They don't mess around with the fan clubs in Belgium. It's how a lot of things work. It's how the world turns. If you're a rider, getting a fan club is a beautiful thing. It means that your fans come to the races every weekend. They host events. You come in as a rider. You get to hang with them, and they are your lifeline. They really prop you up when you're down, and it's a beautiful thing. I always loved the Belgian culture. If you listen to the podcast this year, you would have heard Quinten Hedermans talk about his fan club being the best, and so I can imagine that some of these women have some pretty awesome fan clubs that I hope that we are able to do a feature on in the future and just learn about the inner workings of how cool these fan clubs are. As we see this beautiful overhead shot of Anna Marie Worst and Celine Del Carmen Alvarado going into this last 5 minutes as they come into these handmade stairs that are made here. Just boom, boom, boom. You guys can see all the little holes there. They're metal. You can hear them just slamming. It is a unique thing to be able to come off such soft stuff like sand or grass and then go over to this to these metal man-made barricades that the Belgian promoters have put in, as we see here coming into this deep rut. Ooh. Nope, no one's able to ride this section, losing a lot of momentum, Marty.
You just saw the front wheels of both riders almost slipping out simultaneously there. And looking back through the rider here, number one on the back, going back through the season. Started off in Dordrecht for the win, went to Molenbeek to the Krawatencross, won that. Oh, wow, Worst goes down. Alvarado pounces on that one. Anna Marie sprints back as she tries to get on. You just saw her taking a moment to try and get back on. Here, the battle for third spot between Van der Heijden and Van Anrooy. Where is it going to go between those two? Anna Marie Worst just lost a little bit going into that. She's back on it though. I was just about to say, will Celine Del Carmen Alvarado try that attack through the same section that we've seen her so far in this one? Van Alphen manages to ride most of that section there. She's got Katie Compton in her sights. Behind her are Zufi, and then Sanne Cant. Betzemer is right there as well. Alvarado has got the front. Will Anna Marie Worst try and get back through? What a season Alvarado on the front has had. Went to one in Heaton, one in Rudevorde, won the under-23 Europeans, one in Coxside, one in Ronse. She won in Learnhout, in Bâle, in Hullegem, in Brussels, the national title and the world title. What a season as Worst comes through on that section and gets the front.
Yes, Marty, this is that moment. This is where Camille Vandenberg, her director at the 777.be team, was telling her, take the front here. Do not let Alvarado take the front again. She wants to see that she's at the front. That way it neutralizes Alvarado's attack that she laid down here on the last lap. She wants Alvarado to know that she's still in this and she wants to get in her head. They're playing mind games, Marty. This is what cyclocross is all about right now. Anna Marie Worst is putting herself at the front to be able to put Celine Del Carmen Alvarado in her place. But Alvarado now winding up, trying to come back to Anna Marie Worst. As they come in here, they've got about 3-4 minutes left of racing. We're going to see this one, Marty. It's going to be a good day of it.
This is cyclocross racing at its best, the best in the world, just fighting it out between each other for the victory and for the podium. Inge van der Heijden here from CCC Live in the Oranges. Alvarado has a glance back just to see if anyone's coming back. Katie Compton might get some company from Annick van Alphen behind her. There's Alicia Maria Adzufi with Sanne Cant right behind her. Anna Kay just coming into your picture. Yara Castellan in the background. Low Cells, Eva Lechner are also towards the front. Sanne Cant has won that Belgian champions jersey pretty much since she started racing, I think. I don't think we never really got to see her in it, did we?
She's always had it, man. It's always there. She got an entire wall full of them. I think her house is probably painted in the Belgian flag colors. As we see here, it is Inge van der Heijden coming over the top here, looking to solidify that third place, get on the podium, just as she said in her Instagram post earlier this week. We see Anna Marie Worst now and Celine Del Carmen Alvarado coming through. It's not all said and done yet, Marty. We've got a great race in our hands, and it is going down here in Lille.
It is indeed. Alvarado right on the wheel. We saw her just checking back on that section to see if anyone was closing. She's locked in and ready on the wheel of Anna-Marie Hues. She's looking for that opportunity, testing it out just to see when she can try and make a move, even though she won the world title in a sprint between these two. It's the rider on the front that's had the measure for most of the season, but Alvarado made it count when she needed to last week. You can constantly just trying to find that way through towards the front. Anna-Marie Hues, though, wants the front, and at the moment, she's got it.
Absolutely, she does. This is that moment, Marty, where you're going to need to have basically laser eyesight. You're going to want to put everything together. You're not going to want to make a mistake. You have to have hyper focus at this point in the race. All these little turns, everything that you've learned from the past 39 minutes is going to come down to this end of this race. Can she put it all together? No mistakes. Can both riders match each other and bring this to the line, come down for a sprint where it's going to be decided there, or is it going to be decided out on the course with a mistake or with a forcing of an error and then another rider capitalizing? We will not know, but it's Anna-Marie Hues on the front. Now, as they come into these up-down 180 sections that are going to then, again, just for the safety, she's going to get off and run around these turns. Some of the riders we saw Sanne Cant last lap riding those, but now we see Van Androoy coming through, maybe with Sven Nice's advice, get to the front. But here at the front, it is Anna-Marie Hues and Celine Del Carmen coming through these 180 sections, Marty.
They are indeed. It can come down to the minutest of errors in elite professional cyclocross. If you're watching us for the first time, welcome aboard. Welcome to the revolution. We have got a real fight on our hands for the victory. It's a short sprint to the line. You've got that corner as well. Anna-Marie Hues, any errors that she might make, she will force the rider behind her to be delayed as well. Remounts at the top of that. Celine, though, I think Jeremy, after last week, will probably have a little bit of confidence in her sprint. That would give her a bit of a boost to know that she managed to outsprint Anna-Marie last week.
Well, I think that the racing is done at this point, Marty, that they know that they're both going to come down to the finish line together at this point. There's not going to be any more places to attack or to force an error. They're both at the top, but as they come through this big, deep rut, now it's going to be right onto the road. Anna-Marie Hues is going to be replaying that sprint from the entire last week. It's almost exactly 1 week ago that she lost to Celine Del Carmen Alvarado, to the world champion, that she's going to be rethinking that sprint. So I'm sure that she has a thing or two up her sleeve that she's been thinking about as how she could have replayed that. And today is going to be that opportunity to have another shot at it.
You can see, just watch the eyes when you get those close-up shots of Anna-Marie on the front. Here we go, the sprint. Hues looks back at Alvarado. Is it going to be a first victory in that rainbow jersey for Celine Del Carmen Alvarado? Anna-Marie Hues constantly looking back. Alvarado now launches the sprint. Hues reacts. Alvarado, she got the front there, shoulder to shoulder, neck and neck. Who's going to take this one? This shot, it looks like it's going to be a first victory in the rainbow jersey for the world champion. Yes, it is. Celine Del Carmen Alvarado starts her career as the world champion with an absolutely phenomenal victory. Now the sprint starts for third. Shirin van Anrooy's got the front. Inge van der Heijden now out of the saddle. Hands on the brake levers now for Shirin van Anrooy as van der Heijden battles to try and get back. But it's going to be a podium spot for the junior world champion, Shirin van Anrooy. You can see happy with that one. Van der Heijden crosses the line for fourth. She'll know she's been in a fight today. Compton comes across the line for fifth, just ahead of the rider that led us off the start line, Annick van Alphen, with Betsema behind, with Sanne Cant coming in for eighth spot. Jeremy, what a sprint.
Oh man, one of the best I think I've seen in a long time. There were some emotions on the line. I'm not gonna say it. We didn't see Anna-Marie Hues go straight to the podium 10. She needed a minute to figure that one out for herself. That was she played it how she played it, Marty. It was just that Alvarado today had one extra gear in those legs, and it was beautiful. That's racing. It might not always be that way, but it's that way for the last two races, and that's the beauty of it. Everyone has their time to shine, but it was such a great race to watch. Both of them, hats off to being such professionals, being super troopers. And how about Shirin van Anrooy, the junior world champion, taking that third spot? That's going to make Sven Nys so happy that he signed that rider. He's got a great future ahead with Shirin van Anrooy.
Lucia Gonzalez Blanca, that's a good finish for the champion of Spain. Coming in there for 14th. Laura Vidonch got right behind her. Marion Norbert Riberol, you can see a little bit cooked, I think, after the World Championships last week. And Ellen Van Looy right behind with Alicia Frank. And not only does the world champion take the victory today, of course, winning the DVV Insurance Trophy, overall Manon Bakker coming in here in that plain black skin suit for a 19th spot today for Manon Bakker. And 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Is this Hirte Hooker coming in next? It looks like Hirte. She's been with Exalt Cycling just behind. So good to see her as our Italian coming in there is. Rebecca Garibaldi coming in for 21st. Good to see we're seeing so many riders in towards the finish. Vela Hussens comes across the line just ahead of Mount Captains, who started the season so well with that victory in Eeklo. Veestraten crosses next for Eco Kralen. What a race! I think, Jeremy, that's got to be. I think that's one of my favourite races of the season so far. I think that one absolutely great day's racing.
We have been able to see some awesome racing today. I mean, just from being out there when I was thinking about that trip when we were at the Koppenberg, and then just to see them throughout the whole year. You know, if you haven't seen, we did a piece with Anna Marie Worst where we got to spend a day with her. That's up on GCN on the actual Global Cycling Network YouTube page. It was really cool to be able to kind of meet her, talk to her, understand a little bit more about her. And I think about this entire season from that point when we were over there during the Tour de France, getting these preseason pieces. And then coming all the way down, as we see here, Ben Androy and Slintel Carmen Alvarado having a bit of a hug there.
Het geeft wel een speciaal extra eraan, ja zeker.
En in 2 weken tijd ben je de sprintster van het vrouwenpeloton geworden.
Ik word er steeds beter in, ja. Wie had dat gedacht, hè?
Ja, ik weet niet. Ja, jij kent jezelf beter dan wij, veronderstel ik, hè?
Ja, inderdaad. Ja, ik wist wel dat ik het kon, maar het kwam er nooit naar buiten, helaas, tot nu.
Ja, bij deze. Je doet het een beetje ook zoals Mathieu van der Poel, het hele seizoen al. Je bent altijd vooraan, je controleert de wedstrijd, je doet het nu ook in een sprint. Ambieer jij ooit een carrière op de weg? Vraag ik mij nu af.
Ja, ik heb wel ambities inderdaad om op de weg te rijden. Maar hoe ver het daarin goed zal gaan of zal lukken, dat weet ik niet.
En is het de bedoeling dat je dat dit seizoen al eens gaat uittesten in een aantal wedstrijden?
Ja, inderdaad. We gaan met de ploeg nu ook op de weg rijden. Dus dat is mijn kans om het uit te proberen.
Daar kijken we naar uit. Heb je daar enig idee hoe ver je daar kan geraken? Of tast je helemaal in het duister?
Ja, ik denk wel ver. Moet ik eerlijk zeggen. Ik weet...
Ja, je moet het eerlijk zeggen.
Ja, ik weet wat mij ligt, maar ja, je moet het uiteindelijk toch nog doen. Hè? Dus,
Ik bedoel dan ook qua parcoursen, moeten wij dat in het rondewerk gaan zoeken, in heuvelachtige klassiekers, in de echte Vlaamse klassiekers?
Ik denk dat vooral klimkoersen inderdaad en etappekoersen en zo mij wel zullen liggen. En ja, eventueel eendagskoersen die heel zwaar zijn, zeg maar verder is het de vraag.
Je gaat toch nog tegen ons spreken als je de Ronde van Italië of zo wint, hè, voor vrouwen?
Ja, natuurlijk.
Oké, dat doet me plezier. Gefeliciteerd met de overwinning. We gaan naar Annemarie Worst, de nummer 2 die er ook bij komen zitten is. En die wordt opnieuw in een sprintje, moet hij de duimen leggen tegen Céline Alvarado voor het overige wel een uitstekende koers gereden. Ja, dan ga je naar de sprint, Annemarie. Speelt Dubendorf dan ergens in het hoofd of is dat gewoon weer een compleet nieuwe sprint en is het een ander verhaal?
Ja, het is nu een ander verhaal natuurlijk. Heel andere sprint, heel andere wedstrijd. Dat is nu vooral een beetje leuk rondrijden met z'n tweeën volgens mij. En we hebben er een leuk wedstrijd van gemaakt.
Inderdaad. Wat ik mij ook afvroeg, want dat hebben we voor de koers niet kunnen zien, is die ontgoocheling helemaal doorgespoeld. Want die was uiteraard zeer groot, die was diep, dat is helemaal te begrijpen. Is die doorgespoeld?
Jawel, ja, dat is even kut, zeg maar. Maar ja, het was zo weer weg. Ja, tuurlijk is het altijd lastig. En ja, tuurlijk was geen groot verschil, dus dan maakt het extra hard. Maar ja, het is wel een beetje weg.
Het moet vervelend zijn als het verschil zo klein is. Want uiteindelijk, ja, jij krijgt Céline er niet af, Céline krijgt jou er niet af. Het moet in een sprint beslecht worden. En het is ook niet dat je op 100 meter gesprint wordt, bij wijze van spreken. Dat moet een beetje vervelend zijn.
Ja, zeker. Dat maakt het extra hard. Als ze nou met 20 seconden voorsprong wint, dat is anders. Hè. Dan, ja, dan heeft ze een voorsprongetje en dan weet je, oké, dan ben je sowieso de slechtere, zeg maar. Nu waren we gewoon zo aan elkaar gewaagd en het was heel spannend. En ja, dan is het extra zuur.
Wat staat er de komende weken voor jou nog op het programma?
Ik krijg alles tot Oostmalle. Dus nog 2 dubbele weekenden.
In de hoop of in de veronderstelling, ik pak nog wat prijzen mee en ik spoel dat WK zo snel mogelijk door.
Ja, ik probeer het seizoen gewoon leuk af te sluiten en ja, gewoon leuke prijzen mee te pakken hoop ik. En gewoon het leuk goed geval afsluiten.
Eén ding dat mij interesseert, heb je dat WK al eens teruggezien? Heb je die beelden al durven, willen terugkijken?
Nee.
Dat zal nog even duren. Staat hij ergens op de digicorder of zelfs dat niet?
Ja, zeg maar ergens kunnen zien, maar daar heb ik nog geen tijd voor. Ja, daar geen zin in gehad.
Ik kan dat begrijpen.
Een keertje.
Ooit zo, je hebt nog heel veel tijd natuurlijk. We gaan naar Shirin van Androoy. En die was bijzonder blij met plaats 3 en dat kunnen we begrijpen. Ja, geweldige koers gereden met dat klein koffiemolentje van je. Het viel de commentatoren ook op uiteraard. Maar je hebt het wel binnen de podiumplaats.
Ja, klopt. Ik had eigenlijk een hele slechte start. Dus ik had eigenlijk het gevoel dat ik al een beetje in een verloren positie reed. Maar toen kon ik op blijven schuiven en heel veel maakte het foutjes. En ik kon eigenlijk foutloos alles rijden. Dus toen kwam ik ineens één na laatste ronde aansluiten voor plek 3, 4, 5. En toen in de laatste ronde wist ik dat ik als eerste het bosje in moest rijden. Omdat ik daar dan een klein gaatje kon pakken en dat lukte gelukkig.
Shirin, je bent 17. Dat is bitter jong natuurlijk. De toekomst lacht jou toe. Ik ga het zeggen zoals het is, je bent een wereldtopper in wording.
Ja.
Denk je dat niet, als je dit al kan doen?
Nou ja, ik zeg het niet zo over mezelf, maar het ging vandaag wel heel goed. En ik kon wel gewoon eigenlijk de laatste wedstrijden heel goed meekomen.
Zag je dat nu op een bepaald moment goed dat Sven Nys jou tips aan het geven was? Net voor de materiaalpost.
Ja, klopt.
Hoe komt dat?
Ja, nou, vanaf volgend jaar in september rijd ik sowieso voor Telenet. En ik heb er nu ook al mee getraind. En ja, eigenlijk is het al wel alsof ik deel maak van het team. Alleen rijd ik nog in deze kleding. En ik word ook nog steeds wel gewoon begeleid vanuit het team waar ik nu zit. Maar tijdens de wedstrijden word ik wel aangemoedigd door Telenet.
Gefeliciteerd en geniet zo meteen van het podium, hè?
Ja.
Met die grote vrouwen, als ik het zo moet zeggen.
Ja, komt goed. Dankjewel.
They have it. So we'll. But on our to-do list this summer is yes, I have enrolled myself in my Dutch classes. That it will be my goal for next winter. So I'll do my best on that one. And yes, I've there's an app I found, so I will promise I will. That's my job for the summer, and I will check in. Maybe I'll post it on my Instagram how well my Dutch is improving as the season goes, as the season approaches next year. Let's have a look at our top 10 overall. Celine Del Carmen Alvarado takes that from Annemarie Horst, Shirin van Ooy, Inga van der Heijden, Katie Compton, Annick van Alphen, Denise Betsema, Sanne Cant, Alicia Maria Azufi, and Anna Kay rounds out your top 10 at 1 minute and 2 seconds. That, Jeremy, for me, that's what I've said a little bit. That's going to be one of my favourite races of the year so far. That was an absolutely phenomenal battle, and it was interesting to see the work that Alvarado's done on her sprint as the season's progressed. She's been there, second behind Lucinda Brand, second behind Annemarie Horst, and you can see that progression over the course of the season in terms of how things settle out as a pro rider.
Absolutely. I mean, you're watching two very talented, extremely gifted athletes at their prime going head to head week in and week out. There's a lot of intensity in that race at the finish there, Marty. I mean, I just, like I said, you can see it still in Annemarie Horst's face where she's just still so like, she wanted to win so badly. But at the end, the very funny Sporza interviewer was able to get her to just crack a smile and have a good laugh. I don't know what he said. I wish I did, but it seemed like he was able to kind of break the mindset that she was in and at least be like, hey, you're still great and you're doing a really good job. And she had a good laugh at the end. And you saw the same with Shirin van Andra. In her post-race interview, he was able to have her laughing, just saying like, hey, you're 17 years old and you're up here punching around with these hitters. And how does that feel? So definitely some things there to take away from how this racing went out. One of the best races here, absolutely. That sprint finish had so much determination and drive. I couldn't believe how strong both of them were going. I for sure think I would have been dropped in that sprint. I looked at that and I was like, I definitely would have gotten dropped. Yep.
Absolutely. Now, if you're wondering about podiums, we do show the women's podium because of how long it takes sometimes the riders to get changed and get ready for the podiums. We show the podium in our little recap just before the elite men's race, and that's why we do that. Let's have a look back at the highlights of what was a phenomenal insurance trophy from today. Oh, we got got my audio on it as well. No one wants to hear me again. And there was the start line, and what a start! Annemarie Horst straight down the center in that red jersey, Celine Del Carmen Alvarado. Jeremy, straight off though from the start, it was Annick van Alphen that got the great start here today.
It was Annick van Alphen. We saw her have a great race over in St. Nicholas. She's been one of the riders, the young riders, top 10 at the World Cup in Tabor. Just again, flying that flag and really being out there. A lot of Dutch riders. The top 4, I believe, of today's race is all Dutch. So again, the Dutch women are really tearing it up. But it was here at the beginning of the race where we see a Sanne Cant in that Belgian national champs jersey, trading it out from the world champ, now riding in that Belgian national champs jersey, and Alvarado hit out early, trying to open up this gap, but it was Anne-Marie Worst that was able to answer and come back to the current world champion, Celine Del Carmen Alvarado.
That was where she went down. So went down heavy, face full of sand for the world champion. Didn't affect her as the race went on, but you saw the way Anne-Marie came around that corner. That got her back into it, and from there it was just constantly swinging backwards and forwards between these two riders. You can see any opportunity to get their nose in front, and they take it. Inge van der Heijden, at this point, it looked like a battle for the podium between her and Katie Compton behind, but as the race went on, it was Shirin van Anrooy, the 17-year-old rider, that would find her way back into a podium position. And you see here the sprint out of that corner. Maybe caused that momentary hesitation as she waited for Alvarado to jump. As Celine Del Carmen Alvarado, the last 5 races out of 8 have gone to that rider. What an absolutely phenomenal performance. There's 3rd and 4th, Shirin van Anrooy. And I think we got the podium. Well, let's go. We can go down to the podium, I think. Should we show the podium? I'll tell Sid we'll get the podium up. Get Sid to queue up the podium. As the podium's here, and Jeremy and I just chatting away. There's Shirin van Anrooy on the podium. Great to be able to bring you that nice and quickly here. As there's the riders going through that section, just getting ready. Random shot. I love how they put a random shot in there. I think Sanne Cant and the others. What a day for that rider. What a phenomenal career she's got ahead of her. 17 years old, Jeremy.
Definitely, yeah. She's got time on her side as we see the everything. The women coming in there with a nice hug. Everyone there from the Netherlands. It's got to feel good, to be able to have a lot of pride from their country, to be able to be up there, all 3 on the top step of the biggest races in the world. It's awesome. So there is. Shirin van Anrooy there in 3rd place. Anne-Marie Worst here in 2nd place. And now your current world champion will be coming out in Celine Del Carmen Alvarado.
There she is, the world champion. What a great way to start your career as the world champion, by taking a victory. That is always that pressure off, isn't it? Right, job done. I've won a race in the world champion's jersey. Big sigh of relief. She gets the big Flandrian keg there as well. The celebration for that one. Alpecin Phoenix take the victory. There is your 1, 2, 3 on the day. What has been one of the best races, I would say, we've had so far this season. And she is really moving mountains, is this rider. Originally from the Dominican Republic. And a worthy world champion. There's your podium. Alvarado, Worst and van Anrooy.
De dagwinnaar is van de Toyota's Quickstart en dat is Celine Del Carmen Alvarado.
Great to see the podium. Right, if you're not familiar, the men's race starts on the hour, and we will be back just before that. We'll leave you with a little bit of halftime entertainment. We'll take a short break. Enjoy this.
I got a very special bike with me here today. It's Stephen Hyde's National Champ Edition Cannondale Super X. Stephen rides for the Cannondale cyclocrossworld.com team, and this bike, as all the bikes in their quiver, is absolutely mint. The bike's paint job is immaculate, but it's not just that. It's all of the artwork on this bike that makes it really unique. There's a beautiful picture down here with an American flag and a warrior carrying it. There's also Hyde's name and his logo up on the top, and then down below, STH inside of a turntable with each of the years of his national champion victories, 3 of them. frame set has a ton of engineering in it. Cannondale has used a proprietary design, a 25.4 seat post, and it also has a special carbon fiber layup that gives the bike a lot of flexion. So when you're riding off-road, you get a little bit more comfort in there. It's also got an asymmetrical bottom bracket, which gives a much bigger tire clearance to allow these wheels to be able to flow freely in the nasty, muddy conditions that cross riders see. Starting out up front, Steven is using SRAM red axis shifters as well as rear derailleur. He's got a Force 1033 rear cassette. He's running 170 cranks, and he's using a 42-tooth chainring. Hyde opts for Shimano XTR mountain bike pedals. The cockpit on Hyde's machine is from Zip. It is the Service Course SL stem. Size is 120, and on the bars, he's running the SL 80, and the size is 42. One of the cool bits on this bike is CannondaleCyclocrossWorld.com's proprietary chain watcher. They don't usually run one with SRAM 1x. It's not necessary. However, in these nasty conditions that they're going to be seeing here at the National Championships this weekend with tons of mud, sand, grit, and all that stuff, they decided, you know what, better safe than sorry. So they came up with this 3D printed custom chain watcher. Tried and true Zip 303 tubular wheels are on Hyde's bike, matched up with Vittoria Torino wet tires, size 33, using the graphene technology that Vittoria has talked about over the years. This uses Zip's Service Course SL carbon seat post, size 25.4, and then attached to it is the carbon fiber railed fabric ultimate scoop saddle with the custom National Champ stars and stripes on it. Steven's using SRAM red brakes and calipers, and he's using size 140 rotors front and rear. Let's get a weight on this machine. It's coming in at 7.9 kilograms, which is about 16 pounds on the dot. We gotta do a free hub sound check because I know you guys love it. Fast. That is Steven Hyde's Cannondale Super X. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let us know what you think of the paint job and all the cool custom bits on this bike down below in the comments. If you want to see other cool pro bikes, check those out right over here. And if you want to subscribe to GCN, click right in the center.
Wow, that was quick. I'm straight back with you. Normally get a little bit longer than that, but we're not far away now from the elite men's race. I'm still waiting for the final start list as well. That'll come through, so we'll take you through that. But we've seen them out warming up already. Could it be a day today? Could it be Wout van Aert? Could he give himself a dream return to cyclocross? Tom Pidcock, those sort of riders up there as well. If you weren't with us for the elite women's race and you don't want to know what happened, you can look away now. I know we only just had the podium a few minutes ago. Let's have a look back though, and what a sprint between the new world champion Celine Del Carmen, Alvarado and Anna-Marie Huerst, these two, as we said in commentary, the battles that are developing now between these two riders really are something to behold, and a phenomenal race. That rider there, 17 years old, Shirin van Androoy, the new world junior champion. There was your top 10 overall. Alvarado from Huerst and Van Androoy, Van der Heijden, Compton, Van Alphen, Betsema, Cant, Arzufi and Anna Kay. 1 minute and 2 seconds separating the top 10 overall. And there's your general classification as the trophy. Celine Del Carmen, Alvarado, 2 minutes and 16 ahead of Anna-Marie Huerst. Yara Castelline in third. Eva Lechner in fourth. For a great ride. So Yara Castelline maintains that third position. Sanne Cant, Alicia Marazufi, Ellen Valoy, Katie Compton, Kim van der Steen and Lo Sells. Your top 10 overall, 26 minutes and 51 seconds separating that top 10 overall in the general classification. What a season it has been. If you haven't been with us for the DVV Trophy all the way back at the beginning of November with the Koppenberg Cross, where have you been? And don't forget, it's all available to watch on demand here on GCN Racing. You can go back and watch our whole winter's racing if you want something to do while you're on the turbo. Have it alongside while you're doing Zwift. Let's have a look back at the DVV Trophy so far. Great montage. I can always tell what mood Sid's in when he puts his epic montages together. We were having a little dance around. Hopefully he won't put us up in the corner one day when we're having a little bop around to that one. Jeremy Powers is back with me. Jeremy, the DVV Trophy overall going into today, Ellie Isabet leading Mathieu van der Poel, who's not here, unfortunately, 3:37 in that one. Michael Van Torenhout is third in the DVV Trophy overall. So Ellie, really, that's in that first sort of big step up to elite this year for Ellie Isabet. He's going to be happy again to round out the season as a winner of something as prestigious as the DVV Trophy.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, this is a huge thing for a rider to win one time, to be able to win this in the age of Mathieu van der Poel dominance is an even bigger deal. So I'm sure he's going to be very, very excited by this.
Looking at the riders who could potentially take this one today, we saw Wout van Aert warming up a little bit earlier on, and he looked good. He looked good, but you would think it's not really a kind of Wout kind of course today.
Well, it's very punchy, and I wouldn't say that it's absolutely his perfect skill set. But when you're a complete rider, meaning you can ride fast courses, you can ride heavy courses, you can ride steep, hilly courses, then you're ready to go. It doesn't matter what type of course or what type of race it is. You're good. When you're good, you're good. I would think somebody potentially like Tom Pidcock would be someone that I would say this course is better suited to. Last year, we saw him racing at the front with Mathieu van der Poel in February, so we know that his ability to kind of come off that world's training block and then hold it throughout February is definitely there. And I think that over the years you see riders and you can sort of rely on them. And I think for the riders too, you can say like they definitely feel like they also can rely on their form to be held through the last month of the season. So I would say Tom Pidcock for me today has a good shot at being definitely on the podium, if not taking the win.
Now, talking of the world, he's not here today, but this is a beautiful look behind the scenes. I know you love those at Mathieu van der Poel's Day at the Worlds. Great look behind the scenes there of Mathieu's day out at the World Championships. Riders are getting ready for the starts. Mathieu, as we say, not here today. Tom Pidcock is, and that was a phenomenal performance to take a medal, first ever elite men's medal for Great Britain last week. Jeremy picking him potentially for the win today. Before we go down to start line pictures, their riders are just getting themselves ready for the start. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Around though, Jeremy, the other riders that we could potentially watch out for today, Laurens Sweeck's got to be looking to try and finish the season on a high and potentially finish this one off. But Michael Van Torenhout's been looking good as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, also Toon Aerts, so all those riders definitely have a good shot at being up there. Lawrence Sweck will be riding in that Belgian national champs jersey. Definitely going to be excited to be out there, and of course that suits him quite well. Very fast, we've seen him, but it's kind of all about where the where the gas tank is at this point, Marty. Are these riders, are they on their way up, or are they just kind of coasting? And someone like Pidcock has kind of come in from that injury preseason. I feel like, in my opinion, he's been building all year to get to this place. So now we see he's at the Worlds. He's riding second place, very strong, making a historic moment. And what a rider to be able to do it. One of the classiest riders that we've seen on a cross bike come out of the UK in a very long time. Obviously, Roger Hammond, had a lot of success as a junior rider in cyclocross. We've seen countless riders from the UK do well at the World Cup level, and we've obviously have Helen on the women's side, and many other riders. So yeah, there's so many things to say, but I would say today, as far as other riders that could take the win, definitely Toon Aerts. I would say, in an absence of Van der Poel, I would think of those riders so far to be the riders that I would be putting up on the top step of my list. If I was a gambling man, that's what I'd be thinking.
In terms of other riders, Felipe Orts, Spanish champion, for me, he's had a great season, looking a little bit as riding. There's no substitute for racing against the best in the world week in, week out, is there? So riders like Felipe and Curtis White and these sort of riders that kind of seem that they're starting to, top 10. Felipe Orts is just sort of knocking on the door. Curtis White, where would you say he can? What do you think he can take away from his winter?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are a couple of American and foreign riders that are just basing themselves over there for the end of the year. I think at this point, there's really an opportunity. The pace changes slightly when Mathieu van der Poel doesn't show up. So that will be good for them. And I mean that, completely honestly. There's a small lull in the racing. It'll go down a little bit. There's also February where the riders are just they're not at the absolute tippity-top peak. They're coming off of that World's form. So it's kind of what everyone has left, and they're running on, whatever is left from the year's training. No one's out there just busting out 3-4 hour days, back-to-back sessions, this, that, and the other thing. I think everyone's looking at what's left in the tank and what can I do, and is there something I can squeak away with. I think for the riders that are staying there for foreign, that are foreign to the Belgium, Netherlands area, they're going to be looking at an opportunity to potentially get a good result. For someone like Curtis White or Felipe Orts, top 10 would be a fantastic day out.
We'll go down to the start line. Don't forget to subscribe to GCN Racing. It all helps with being able to bring you great live cyclocross action. It doesn't cost you anything. Just subscribe, hit that bell icon so you're notified whenever we upload a new video, when we're going live. Loads to come here this year on the channel. So make sure you get yourself on board, get subscribed. Thanks to all of you that have done that already. So we'll go over there. There's the start. You can see everyone out enjoying the park, getting ready for the race action today. There's plenty of sand. If you weren't with us for the elite women's race, the course here, 300 meters of paved section. It's pretty much the start-finish line straight. 1,740 meters of forest roads and 940 meters of sand. There's Tom Pidcock, British champion. Quentin Hermans alongside him. Jim Arnout's in the background. Tone Arts here for Telenet Balwaza. There's Tom Meyerson behind them. Elisabeth, Felipe Orts, you can see there, your Spanish champion. Laurent Sweek, the Belgian champion. There's Wout van Aert, third row start for the Jumbo-Visma rider. There's Kerry Werner, you can see Michael Van Toren out, Lars van der Haar. Good start here, so expect a lot more, potentially expect a lot more of a bunched race for the riders today with the absence of that behemoth of a presence of Mathieu van der Poel. But plenty of class riders here, and the course is riding quick today. The lights go red. Watch them. Away we go. It's the final round of the DVV Insurance Trophy, the Krawatencross here from Lille in Belgium. Tom Pidcock straight down the centre of the road. David van der Poel in the dark blue. There's Curtis White in the colours of the US national team. Laurent Sweek gets a good start. Pidcock right on the wheel. So Run Rider having a bit of an issue off the start through the woods, and it's Sweek that leads out. Vincent Bastian's up there. Jens Adams is in the white. So good to see Jens Adams getting himself up there. Sweek leading out. Pidcock's in a good position. Tysarts, Michael Van Toren out, Elise a bit, Tonart's a little bit further back. There's Curtis White going through your picture. Wout van Aert's got some work to do to try and come back up towards the front. There he is, just in front of Felipe Orts. You could just see that Red Bull helmet of Wout van Aert. So the camera's there. Wout van Aert just moving up. You can see the riders behind just battling for positions through the sand here. Just off and running behind. Van Aert, as Sweeck has an opportunity here just to have a glance across and see where everyone is through that section. So let's run you down through the list. So Sweeck, Arts, Ace a bit, Van Aert, Van Toren out. You've seen Hermans van Kessel, Meissen, Meeuwsen, David van der Poel, Jens Adams, Dan Suter from Paushausen Bingo. Good to see him back. We've got Tysarts is up there. This is our rider that was having his issues off the start line. I think it's Marco Carrot, so I'll double check that one. So Kerry Werner for the USA. Kevin Suarez Fernandez is wearing 21 for Nesta. And then going down through our start, Thomas Edhofer for our German fans, Nicola Parenti and Marco Carrozzo are up. There is Marco Carrozzo here. That's had an issue off the start line for you French fans. Gauthier Heimes is in there. For Polish fans, Karol Michalski is on the start line. Curtis White, it's easy to pick out in his US national team jersey. He's wearing 49. And then Mikolaj Markovic, 52. Jakob Doragoni wearing 53 is also in there. So that is the way things are panning out at the moment. Fast start as Wout van Aert just tries to get on. But Jeremy, this is what we get in this situation. A lot more of a bigger group for longer.
Yeah, definitely, and especially on such a fast course like this, you see a lot of the riders have to stick together, especially in these opening laps. It's so fast; they're all kind of nailing down the course and getting things going. But Sweeck definitely on a good day today. You can just see the electricity in him. He's going for it today. He's got a shot right off the start in that big group, kind of moving his way through. Sweeck's not a small rider. Having raced head to head with him many times, Sweeck's not a small guy. He can push his body weight around. No one's going to be coming underneath Sweeck. He might look small on TV, but he's one of the bigger guys out there. So he can definitely, even though he's lean at this point in the season, he definitely can move some people if he decides that he wants to lean on someone. So yeah, you see these riders here in this opening lap, very fast pace. You see Quinten Hermans there. Then we got Tom Meeuwsen. You got Wout van Aert, Corne van Kessel, Lars van der Haar, Jens Adams, and Felipe Orts there. So got a lot of great riders in this one. This is the hitters for sure. As you see those wheels, those white wheels of Tom Pidcock there, the zip wheels just going through in third place right now.
So David van der Poel and Tysarts are the other riders in this four-rider leading group. And Michael Van Toren out just closes up with Elias a bit right on the wheel. And right behind him, Vincent Bastian's getting a great start for Group Hens Mass Containers in that sort of silvery top jersey with the yellow and red bands behind. Pidcock bunny hopping well as everyone gets through. There's Wout van Aert. The first race we saw him back wasn't bunny hopping those barriers, was out in the woods and has got that grown in confidence as that's gone on. A bit of a thanks to Nico Stas, who messaged me in the week, and Jens Adams, who's in that white jersey from the Holle Bikhover produce, and I said it was an apple company, but they produce all sort of dairy products. They're the new sponsor of Jens Adams. There's Tom Meeuwsen going through, and in this situation as well, it just means that we see a little bit further down the group. Oh, Tysarts just rides that group. Nice save there from Tysarts.
That was some dirt bike in there for sure. Had to cut that one tight back or else he was heading towards the metal posts there. As you see, this race on the men's side, very tight knit as you get going here. It's going to take a couple laps for this to shake out. It's just a super fast course with not a lot of areas to be able to up the pace, especially in these first laps when it's going to be this first 10-15 minutes of this race. It's going to take a little bit longer for this to shake out with so many top riders here today.
Someone like Tom Pidcock here, Jeremy, in third wheel. He's flying the flag for the very much at the moment for the non-Dutch and Belgians. Felipe Orts is another one that's a bit of a trailblazer. He's just coming round that corner there in this sort of minty coloured Spanish national champions jersey. But for Tom, that silver medal last week, it's an ominous sign for the elites to see, because he, as a junior and as an under-23, had that skill to be able to peak for that day. But just the sort of reinforcement of that belief when you move up to elite and you take that silver medal behind Mathieu van der Poel, for Tom Pidcock, it's kind of the arrival at elite level, would you say?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was for him even. It was a fun, just a huge ride in his very already accomplished career. But I think he's also making history not just for the UK but in the world. He may be the first English-speaking rider to potentially be a contender for the world title in the future in cyclocross. It's something that we've never seen before. There's a lot of things that Pidcock's done where he's become that guy, and I think that he knows it, but he's seemingly able to take, as we see there, it looks like Aerts there having a little bit of trouble trying to get through there, through that section, unfortunately just creating a little bit of gap. And Marty, that's what we're going to see happen here, is these gaps are going to get created by people making mistakes behind. But to finish off that bit about Pidcock, I think that he has a real opportunity here in the coming years to potentially vie for that world title, and also to be the person that maybe challenges Mathieu van der Poel in these races week in and week out.
Indeed. So great to have all of you on. So yes, just to confirm as well, the Van der Poel that's up there's David van der Poel, the older brother, and this group, Thijs Art's couple of little mistakes so far. Wout van Aert, you see there on that beautiful Celesti Bianchi bike, but Laurent Sweeck is going to lead through at the end of lap 1. Tom Pidcock just trying to close the gap down here, doesn't want to let Laurent Sweeck go. Sweeck is pressing on here, is the Belgian champion. Rocking those blue shoes. Goes through the line, 7:38, and Pidcock at 2 seconds, so minimal gaps. And then you've got the gap back to the next group as Eli Iserbyt comes over the top. So Hermans van Turnhout, Iserbyt, Tyson Toon, Wout van Aert, Vinnie Bastians, Tom Meusen, Corny van Kessel, Dan Suter is well up there. Orts is in 17th. 17 seconds separating those, and just 20 seconds separating those, 22 seconds separating those top 20 overall. Huub de Villigen is the rider rounding out that top 10. Leading group, Laurent Sweeck, Tom Pidcock, David van der Poel, looking to maybe take a victory here today for Alpecin Fenix, as Toon Aerts and Michael van Turnhout move up. It's a bit of a wrestling match going on here as Wout van Aert comes over the top of Thijs to move himself into contention.
Yeah, you saw how that played out there when they had to kind of come down to that bottleneck. It didn't go well, but these guys know that there's not a place to pass anywhere else outside of where they just tried to. So you see now Van Aert is back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots. So he's just looking at this and saying, like, I need to be in this group, but I can't force it any more than I already have. It was Michael van Turnhout and Toon Aerts there really forcing the subject and making sure that they got through ahead of the riders that they think that might potentially hold them up, because this is when the race is playing out. These three riders at the front are going all in, really pushing the pace on this right now early, Marty. There's a lot of electricity in that front group, and so those guys don't want to get caught out and left behind, even though they have a little gap from Thijs Aerts when he went down in that last corner just before they hit the start finish.
Oh, Tom Pidcock, little dab there from Pidcock. Van Turnhout grabs a handful of barrier to help himself, going to Wout van Aert smoothly through there for Wout van Aert. Sweeck is off and running. The top three, just seeing that group. So Corny van Kessel and Eli Iserbyt, Wout van Aert are up there. Quentin Hermans is the rider there for Tormans cyclocross, as it is known. David van der Poel just up here, but Sweeck has flown the nest. Pidcock comes through to try and close this one down, comes over the top of David van der Poel. Doesn't want to let the Belgian champion go clear here. The Trinity Racing man well up there. Van Toren out, bending the tape, little dab as Quentin Eds. I'll just say stealing Jeremy's bending the tape here. So I'll have to come up with another one.
Yeah. No, I like that one. I like that one a lot. Yeah, and it is Sweek, though. Sweek looks really good today, Marty. He's really got a lot of, like I said, he just looks energized. Like the way that he looks on the bike, the posture that he has, he looks like he's well rested, and he's taken enough time to come into this race today with a lot of momentum and to try to take a win here. I think he would really like to show off that Belgian national champ with his hands up at the end, but he knows that he's got his hands full with all of these hitters behind him. Pidcock's seemingly, even though he had that little dab, I think that he's taking notes and he's able to make that jump to the front. He's able to close down these gaps, but if he has to do that throughout the race over and over and over again, that's not going to benefit him at all. He's going to need to be able to stay pace with Laurens Swick as Laurens out there setting a ferocious tempo this morning.
Indeed, there's your long shot. So Pidcock with Van der Poel on the wheel. David Van der Poel just trying to claw this group back together. Toonarts moves through and dives through on the inside of Van Toren out. Wout van Aert carries that speed through that section before they swing right and kick it over the top of this little section. And it's a great course here. Swake, followed by Pidcock, always has a little flick over the top of the planks. Does Tom Pidcock? There's Elise a bit going through. And Tom Mewson and Vinny Bastian's here for Group Hensmas. Looks like with the right... Oh, Lars van der Haarl goes a little bit squirrely over the first one. Manages to... save himself from eating a plank sandwich on the second one and just pulled that one back there, Lars van der Haarl.
I'm going to ask, I'm going to see if my wife will cook me up a plank sandwich later. Just see if that's on the docket for today as we see the group ballooning here. But Aerts now really putting himself in there, going ahead now, putting himself into second place. There, like I said, Marty, these huge deep ruts really make for a single track type of race. There's not a lot of big lines here. The course is not wide, so needs to put yourself into that position. But you can see the effort that Aerts has had to do. His mouth is wide open. He's had to go all in to be able to get to the front of this race. And he wouldn't start that far back. He started in the front row. He maybe was in 8th, 9th place, but just off. He's really had to work throughout this lap to be able to put himself up into the front, and that's the kind of stuff that at the end of the race ends up adding up and can take away from a potential victory. But like I said, we got Sven Nys out there. He was giving instructions to Sheeran Van Androy earlier. She was able to take 3rd place, his new signing, not yet even a rider, but Nys is going to be out there giving his big guy, Toon Aerts, some of the tactics and some of the things to think about on this track today.
Toonarts, former Belgian champion, the man that took that jersey as this year, is on the front. He will want to take a big victory here in the DVV Trophy. If you're just getting on board, welcome. This is the Krawatencross from Lille in Belgium. It's the final round of the DVV Trophy. It's Elisabeth from Palshausen Bingo that leads the man that's not here, Mathieu van der Poel, so he loses that 5 minutes and will drop away down the classification just very slightly. Michael van Toren out 3rd at 5:27. Corny van Kessel 4th at 7:26. Tim Malier in 5th at 10:08. Van der Haar in 6th at 12:27. Tom Mewson in 7th at 14:57. Jens Adams is next in 8th at 15:54. Toonarts 9th at 16:18, and Jim Arnouts went in as goes down there. Toonarts,
there we go. Yeah, we got Toon Aerts, like I was saying, and Van der Poel come over top of him. They were both in the front group there. That's unfortunate. Like I was saying, Marty, here we go. We got the replay. He comes down, just didn't have that quite right. Luckily, Pidcock able to get around that, but unfortunately, David Van der Poel also not actually part of Toon Aerts' problem. That rut's just getting so deep. Those riders' weight just wasn't quite leveled up just right, and unfortunately, that's what happens. They go over the bars, and that's going to be tough for Toon Aerts to come back from because of this fast course. There's just not a lot of time to be able to come back from something like that. It's a really hard course to make time up on because Laurens Swick, while there's been all these problems, we've seen Pidcock's had problems, we've seen Toon Aerts has had problems, we've seen pretty much almost all the front riders have had to put a foot down at some point, but Sweek is able to just ride these laps consistently, boom, 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 lap after lap. He's really on a good strike today. He's got the right tire pressure in. He feels good. All the things are lining up for Sweek to have a nice day out today.
Or indeed, 14:58. The time going through that. We're on to lap 3 here. So Van Toren out from behind Pidcock. Hermans Van Aert, Easterbit goes through. Then the next group led by Vinnie Bastians and Tom Meeuwsen of Group Hensmas. It's Pidcock on the front here for Trinity Racing, leading out. Felipe Orts, our Spanish champion, still there in 17th. Who's been with us all season. We're big fans of Felipe Orts. I'm a big fan of the young Spanish rider. Danny G asking how many laps. So we take the first 2 laps, don't we, Jeremy? And then they generally decide how many laps they're going to do from there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, looking like they're coming in at about 7:30 right now because they've come through at around 15 minutes. So assume 7:30 average. You know, you can do the math out. It'll be about an hour. So yeah, it'll be a good session. They're definitely at the beginnings of this, as you see them all trying to come in, funnel into this section here. Now you see Pidcock's been shuttled back to that second, third, fourth place, with Wout van Aert in 5th, and then it looks like Eli Iserbyt in 6th. So that is your front group right now. We've got a good chase group behind them filled with a lot of hitters, but right now it's Toon Aerts taking up the chase, trying to get back Lawrence Sweck.
Absolutely phenomenal pace through this race over the course of the first 2 laps. Swake's got the front. Arts is coming back after that little tumble. This is the way he's got to ride this one. Ride from the front. Quentin Hermans from Tormans. I'm quite interested to see what Quentin can do on the road this year with Circus Wanty Group Gobert. You can see him wearing their number 8.
Definitely, yeah. I think it's first things first. We got to finish out this cross season. As you see again, this section giving a lot of riders problems over the course of the day. In the women's race as well, we saw it. It seems like it's good if you've got a little bit of momentum and you're riding a big gear, but it's been hard for a lot of riders to be able to execute here in this section. As we see Jens Adams coming through with a lot of speed. There's your boy Felipe Orts coming through. And yeah, overall though, this is going to be an interesting time for Hermans as he tries to close down the gap to Lawrence Swick. He has a lot of pressure on his shoulders to produce for this new program that he's part of, the Thormans Cross, but also he's got a big opportunity this year on the road as well, as you mentioned, Marty. And I think if you go back and listen to the podcast we did with him, I think he's very excited about this. Here we have Michael Van Torenhout coming in.
So there you see the replay, and it's Toon Aerts that's got an issue there on the left. The Telenet Balois rider. Hermans kicking on. He's got up to the front now. Quentin Hermans. Big attack. Looked good, didn't he, in the week for the Etias. Oh, Swake went down there. We didn't see that one. As Hermans comes around and narrowly avoids him. Good to see that we got a replay. That happened when they were giving us the replay of Toon Aerts. And Jeremy, that's the way this course is riding today.
Yeah, exactly. That's that turn. We've seen a couple of these turns that have really given riders a hard time all day. Now, Quentin Hermans on the front, repping that Tormans, that bright neon color there from them. But yeah, that corner's given in the women's race as well a lot of problems. And what the riders are seeing is that they come into it with a lot of speed. They've got their weight back, but that rut that's there just doesn't hold them up. And so as they come through, they lean up and they're all set up and they expect that, you know, they've committed to that rut. Unfortunately, the rut just goes away and then they lose that front tire and they end up going down. It's not a hard crash, meaning they don't go down super hard, but as we saw, we did see the women's world champion Celine Del Carmen Alvarado did go down and get a little bit of a mouth of sand on that one. So definitely a fast turn, although not great. As you see Wout van Aert, they're going wide. Notice maybe that these other riders were going to have a problem going that tight on the inside, fighting for that line. So he goes wide with that experience and he's able to come through cleanly. As you see, Pidcock and Iserbyt are now shuffled to the back.
So going through that section, apologies to all of you on the comment section for the bots that seem to be getting in there. I'm sure whoever's moderating the comments is trying to shut them down. So my apologies for that. Stick with it as we go through there. Swake pressing on that tumble. Wout van Aert's looking good here, but Quentin Hermans, as we said, he looked good early on in the week at Moudhem. He looked like he kind of lost as the race went on. It looked like it was very close to the Worlds though, wasn't it, Wednesday, in terms of traveling, legs recovering, that kind of thing. He really sort of launched it from the gun on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think if for some days, you know, you just, after a big race like that, everyone sleeps different, you know, like some riders, maybe someone like Anna-Marie Wurst, just not that happy with how things went, doesn't sleep well, right? But able to but but other riders, just a weight off their shoulders, and they sleep great all week getting into this. So yeah, as you see, they're really pushing the pace. Quinten Hermans knows he has this opportunity. Marty, I was just going to say that it's all different for each rider, how they come into this and how they recover, and kind of like I said, where they're at. I don't think anyone's trying to force the issue right now. It's sort of a little bit of like, what do I have left? How can I do, and how can things go for me? It's not necessarily as methodical at this time of the year as it is in the early parts of the year, where they're thinking about a lot of things, and that can be freeing for some riders.
Indeed, so you just see slinging the bike through the that bottom of that section. Quinten Hermans decides all riders are here, decides to remount through there. Looking good. There's your chasers. Sweek, Arts, Isabit, Wout van Aert, Michael van Turenhout, and right on the back of that little group there, Tom Pidcock, Lars van der Haar is in there, Tom Hewson, but here we go. You've got the clock on here from Quinten Hermans. We have that Toyo Tires quick start competition as well. Elie Isabit was leading that ahead of Mathieu van der Poel. 16 points for Elie Isabit. Didn't look like he got the start in this one. Connie van Kessel, Toon Arts, Tom Pidcock, Thijs Arts, Wout van Aert and Michael van Turenhout, just 6 riders scoring points this section. Let's have a look through that little rut. So far, Quinten Hermans pressing on. Do you know what, Jeremy? I'm going to stick my neck out and say Wout van Aert's going to get this one.
Wow, that is a bold prediction. I don't have a prediction yet, but I'll give you one later. I would say right now, the thing that I'm seeing is that this course has a lot of speed limits, and these riders are absolutely, there's a suggested speed limit, and they're well over the suggested speed limit today. They're riding this thing, and they're absolutely using every centimeter of this course to be able to get the most speed out of it in each of these turns. It's a unique track. Those hills that you're seeing, those 180s, if you're just joining us, they're super steep, so it's really hard. The sand does not have a lot of moisture in it today, so there isn't any the sand's just very loose, which makes it even harder. The riders are going through it, the ruts are not holding them up, so this course is, even considering previous years, is even more challenging than it has been, as we see Quinten Hermans going all in with Sweek, drilling it back. Both accomplished road racers. Sweek has a lot of results on the road as well. He's a very strong rider, but you see there Wout van Aert finding himself in 3rd spot at the front of the race, probably looking at his first race where he's had an opportunity to win this year.
So Lars van der Haar, Tom Hewson rounding out that top 10. Pidcock's dropped back just a touch. There's Pidcock ahead of Dan Suter, of course, coming back from that broken collarbone over the Christmas period. Lars van der Haar just ahead of the group Hedens Mass duo of Vincent Bastians and Tom Hewson. So good ride here. Quinten Hermans, though, pressing on. Jeremy, in terms of looking at how the women's race went in this race so far, do you think, looking at tyre choice, tyre pressure, in terms of the way this course has ridden, because it's just so super quick, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think that there's I think that for the men, it's going to be the same. They probably have a notebook with all of their pressures that they've put in it over the years. They know sort of what this course, what tire works well here in what conditions. If it's wet, it's this tire. If it's dry like it is today, it's this tire. So there's a lot of things. Where do you need traction on this course? You really don't. You want a nice fast tire, because this is a fast course. You want something with a little bit of maybe potentially have a little bit of traction on the sides, maybe a little side knob. So something like a Challenge Dune, or a Dugas Pipistrello, or a FMB Sprint. Those would be the tires that I would think that these riders would be looking at as potentially best case scenario.
I think I might get a little bit teary and emotional if Wout gets this one.
Okay. I'll hear you on that. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely had a long comeback. I think it would be a big deal for him, as we see a rider here. Looks like a bike, unfortunately, with a snapped stem. Maybe not a great day. Going to be going home with that. Not a Glenn Verbeek from the AA Drink Youngins team, with the Niels Albert bike store there on his chest. Oh, this doesn't look like this went well.
Oh, nasty. Poor guy. That is something that you don't see very often, is it?
No, you don't, unfortunately. But yeah, just didn't get that front end up quite enough. And as you said, Marty, that was a plank sandwich for sure. That's what one looks like, if you're wondering. As Quinten Hermans navigates that, is able to navigate that big rut. And like I said, it has changed throughout the day. The riders know they really have to finesse that one to be able to use it, to be able to commit to it. As we see here, Van Aert now going in, sees that there's an opportunity, decides he's going to ride through the water, maybe to take a little bit of a cool down, but also to get that firm line. Now we see Sweek dropping back, not able to match immediately from Wout van Aert as he's warmed up. He's now feeling like he's got this course nailed down, and he's in pursuit of Quinten Hermans.
He is indeed. This man, though, pressing on at the head of the race. Wout van Aert from Jumbo-Visma right behind him. 4th place in the Worlds last week. Was disappointed with that. He wanted a medal. But looking at where Wout is in this race as well, it's not often you see someone coming into the front from where he started on the grid as well. Because he wasn't on. Was he third row? I think.
Yeah, he was back there a bit, but you know that's he has a lot of respect in the bunch as well, Marty. So he's going to be able to move through a little bit easier than someone that's coming from the 3rd or 4th row that doesn't have the same palmettos as Wout van Aert. So as Wout comes through here, he leans up. He's got this course locked in now. He's feeling like he's got the right pressure. He's feeling like he's got the confidence as he comes into this section. See how he goes through the barriers. This will tell us a lot about where he's at right now, if he's feeling fatigued or not. Looks very clean. Looks like he's in control.
Yeah, what is interesting as well, and what's good to see, you've got a Cube bike at the front, you've got a Bianchi bike in second, some new kind of names now coming through at the front from a manufacturing point of view.
Definitely. I mean, you've seen a lot of Treks, you've seen a lot of Focus, you've seen a lot of Stevens bikes, you've seen a lot of big names over the years, but now we're seeing that these different teams are interested in this opportunity in cyclocross. It's a great way to be able to get your brand out there, and it's a great way to be able to get there. Obviously, Ridley here under Eli Easterbit and Michael Van Torenhout and Lawrence Sweck. A lot of big brands that are in cyclocross that are also on the road, but this has traditionally been a Belgian sport, really with a lot of culture there. So it's great to see some new brands making cyclocross specific machines, as we see Kerry Warner there on the 180 there on the backside with number 23, Michael Jordan's number, and it's awesome to be able to see Kerry Warner out there doing these races along with Curtis White.
And he's riding for Italian fans with Jacob Doragoni from Selle Italia Gucciotti, who is up there, the new Italian champion. Ooh, that we've had a few washouts on that section so far today, and Quinten Hermans going in smoking hot into that section, just washes out just a touch. There's Van Torenhout with Swake, then the gap back now. You can just see Dan Suter with Tone Arts and Todd Pidcock right behind them. Let's have a little replay of this.
Just a little bit too much turning on that front tire, Marty. You saw he's got to lean the bike, but unfortunately he just kind of overreacted a little bit. It tells me a little bit about where Quinten Hermans is in his effort on the day. He's definitely digging super hard as he tries to ride the section, but Van Aert now able to maybe open a little bit of a gap there over that section. He's definitely in hunt mode. He's pushing it, and the other riders are not able to match this effort that Van Aert's pulling through right now as he's got this course locked in.
Wout van Aert takes the lead here for Jumbo-Visma. Look at the power of the Jumbo-Visma man through these sections. Jeremy, to me, looking sprightly today as Wout van Aert through these little sections. Definitely seems like he's got that snap back.
Definitely, I would agree with you, Marty. You might want to buy a lottery ticket on the way home after that call earlier, but definitely nice to see, no matter what the outcome is, it's great to see Van Aert here after so many injuries and so many setbacks, contract problems, all of the things that have happened to him, and the way that he's unfortunately had his last year and a half ago. It's great to be able to see him up at the front and really having a good shot at taking the win here in Lille.
He is indeed. Wout van Aert kicks on. Quinten Hermans, you can see, is battling to stay with him. Is it going to be the dream return here? We've watched him race by race get better and faster and stronger out of the corner onto the only asphalt section, you would say. There's almost like a little brick section here on the finish straight. And on this course, 300 meters of paved, 940 meters of sand, as Wout van Aert kicks through on the end of lap 4 of 8, so 29 minutes and 18 seconds, and he's really spinning, is Quinten Hermans.
That's right. I think that the Quinten Hermans might have a problem. I think he's going to need to take a bike change. I think that there's something going on with that bike's derailleur. I don't think that that's the choice that he has to pick that gear. I think that I think that potentially there's a battery issue or there's something going on. He's able to use the bike still. That's not the problem. But I think that there is an issue with the gear. So we'll know that as he comes in. I wouldn't expect him to have that high of a cadence unless maybe there's some new training going on. But as you see now, it's Van Aert there in a really locked in position. You can see the look on his face. He knows that this is the opportunity to go all in, and he's taking it.
He is indeed. So after that horror crash in the Tour de France last summer, we saw him come back into racing in Lowenhout, and 4th place in the Worlds last week, as we said a little bit earlier on. Is it going to be the day today for him? They go Michael Van Torenhout, Laurent Sweeck coming over the top here of Quinten Hermans. Little slide there from Laurent Sweeck as he digs the bike in through that section. Looking back through the years of this race, the history of this one, it's go all the way back. The likes of Niels Albert, Sven Nys, Sven Van Torenhout, Bart Wellens has won it on a couple of occasions. Kevin Powell's, Michael Van Torenhout's won here. Mathieu van der Poel. So looking now to signal his return, give himself a much needed confidence boost, be a popular one with the crowd as Van Torenhout comes over the top.
You see there, it's Quinten Hermans able to hang on and stay in 3rd place. He's got just enough gear, but you can see he's heavy now on the gear. I do think that he's going to want a bike change. He's locked into that middle part of the cassette, so that's a good place to be locked if you're going to have a mechanical. But he's definitely, in my opinion, Marty, going to be looking for a bike change coming up.
He is indeed. To give you an idea of how Elias a bit going through your picture there, so as we said, he leads in the DVV Trophy overall. He's going to run out the winner of this one. How we arrived at that, though, Elias a bit all the way back to Koppenberg. It was Isabit from Pidcock and Van Torenhout. What a battle that we had in that one. We then went on to the Flandrian Cross in Hammer. That was Mathieu van der Poel from Laurent Sweeck, Tim Leer, Elias a bit 5th. On that occasion, Van Aert skirts the water there on that section in Kortrijk. It was Van der Poel from Malier with Toonarts. Elias a bit 5th there at 30 seconds in that one. On to Ronsa. Toonarts taking that one as Quinten Hermans goes in for a bike change. Toonarts taking that one from Elias a bit and Mathieu van der Poel. On to Lowenhout. It was Van der Poel, Isabit, Corny van Kessel, Tim Malier. This man here, that return 5th in that race at 1 minute and 14 seconds. On to Baal, Van der Poel from Isabit just 23 seconds down. On to Brussels Uni the last round. It was Van der Poel from Isabit and Corny van Kessel on that occasion. But for here, this man here, Eli Isabit, is going to run out the winner of the season-long competition, the DVV Insurance Trophy. There's Dan Suter, Tom Pidcock dropping back there just ahead of Lars van der Haar, Tom Meusen and Jens Adams. Felipe Orts there wearing number 16 is still in contention on that BH bike.
Definitely, yeah, and you can see that this is a race that goes all throughout the year. It's based on time, not necessarily on points, so that's really cool because the riders have to give everything every single race, but this man here at the front does not care about any time, any classifications, just cares about the day. And the thing that I can tell you about this is that he's got a lot of wind in his sails, Marty. The fans that are out there yelling for him on the sidelines, just take a look at them when they go through. Seriously, if you're watching this, watch what the fans are doing. That's how you know that Wout van Aert's been in the papers. They've gone through this. They feel like they've gone through this with him. All of the things that he's gone through to be able to come back to this place, to be leading a race. The fans are just so endeared to have him there, to be a fan of his. They're so psyched. He's not just a rider. He's the 3-time world champion. He puts Belgium on the map in a lot of ways. Tour de France stage winner, the Belgian time trial champion. He's a big rider in Belgium, and the fans that are out there to see him are going to be really, really excited to see him racing at the front and potentially looking at his first win of the season.
It would be his first win since the World Cup in Pontchâteau, that first cyclo-cross win since Pontchâteau back at the beginning of 2019. Of course, phenomenal season on the road before crashing out of the Tour de France last summer. But we're loving seeing him back here. He has been on the podium. He took second in Zonnebeker in the Castellcross. He was 35 seconds behind Mathieu van der Poel on that occasion. But as Jeremy said, you can hear the love from the crowd roaring him on. That will give him wings to fly in this race. But there are still very much locked in those battles behind. There's Toonarts digs in on that corner. Toonarts and through for Wout van Aert. Look at him through that section, looking phenomenal, is the Jumbo-Visma rider. Sweek has to dismount through that section.
As you see, Sweek now able to do that, the dirty side dismount, the derailleur side, not the traditional side that we see a majority of the riders using. He's able to get a little bit cleaner line by getting off on that opposite side, as we see Van Aert here running down the hills. It's always a unique skill to have in cyclocross, is downhill running off camber, something that you don't always necessarily train for, but you get really good at because there's a lot of it, especially on a course that's fast here in Lille. But you can see how they're using every square inch of this race. That's what I was talking about with Sweek. You see how he's able to take that higher inside line where Easterbit has to go down low into all the places and all the holes where all the other riders have ridden. Sweek, by having that dirty side dismount, the derailleur side's able to use that upper section where there's just a little bit more traction to be able to help his case today.
It is indeed, and you see the rainbow bands on the jersey of Wout van Aert. It's Laurent Sweek and Quentin Hermans locked in that battle behind for those next spots. The Belgian champion led out, took a tumble. Quentin Hermans has had a few slides out today. Wout van Aert at this stage, though, leading a charmed life in this race as he presses on at the front. Let's have a look back through the gaps. Easterbit that's leading Van Toren out. His teammate Toonarts really pushing this course to the limit. Through the line, lap 5 of 8 here for Wout van Aert. 36.21 for Van Aert through there. There can be no let up at all. Sweek and Hermans go through. Let's see where they stop the clock to those chasers behind. They go through the line this time at 15 seconds. Easterbits and Van Torenhout are at just over those 20 seconds, 23 back to them. Toonarts is at 25. Then Tom Pidcock is leading the next group, 30 seconds for Pidcock and Suter. Adams and Orts are your next riders through there in 10th and 11th. Tim Meeuwsen is there just ahead of Jens Adams. Corny van Kessel leads Jim Arnouts through, and Thijs Arts ahead of Vinnie Bastians. That's your next group. So that's all of that group through.
Now we're seeing Quentin Hermans there taking over as he got that bike change. As we suspected, Marty, there was an issue with that derailleur, so not working. He's able to get a bike change. Now he's got the better gear. He definitely has something left in the tank. I think that he would have been able to match Van Aert when he went, had he had the bike's gears that he needed. But unfortunately, just having that mechanical there, just getting stuck in the middle range of that cassette, but very smart, played it super coy, able to get there, keep the momentum, get back into that chase group, take a small rest, and then he let Lauren Sweek all through the start-finish area pull. As you can hear the fans from Van Aert's crew just screaming for him. Look at the intensity on them. They're all propping him up and pushing him along. He's riding a really good day today. But the chase back, here we have Quentin Hermans as they take that line right along the tape there, all on the right side, super deep as they come into this right-hander. Sweek now trying to hold on to Quentin Hermans' wheel as Quentin Hermans now takes the reins, really tries to push it. Sweek forced off the bike, not able to get on the same page with Quentin Hermans' pace right now, Marty.
No, and he's worked that interview with Quentin Hermans on Jeremy's on the podcast that we did is worth a listen. There's Tom Meeuwsen just going along there behind Lars van der Haar. Here's your Meeuwsen. He's on the Scott bike, so you can see, good to see Scott in there. Just run you through your top 10 as Wout van Aert slides through that section. So this man, it does change, of course, but the order: Van Aert, Hermans, Sweek, Easterbit, Van Torenhout, Art, Suter, Pidcock, Van der Haar, and Meeuwsen. That's the top 10. There's Hermans goes through. You can see just how that section there is getting carved out. So going through the line, it was 15 seconds back to Sweek and Hermans. Sweek, you can see wrestling with that bike to try and stay with Quentin Hermans. 23 seconds back to Isabit and Van Toornout. Toonarts at 25. Suter and Pidcock were at 30 seconds. And this group all coming back together here.
Definitely, Ille Isabit really driving this one, trying to get back on, but it's Thijs Aerts now coming through, trying to put the Telenet Balawasa program up into the front. There is not a Trek bike up there right now. He's trying to put one on the podium as they come through, chasing down Wout van Aert, Laurens Sweeck, and Quentin Hermans.
Wout van Aert has had that section dialed in nicely. So there's your Spanish champion in the background. There's your British champion for you British viewers. Great to see him up there. Lars van der Hart, good friend of the show. Always very gracious with his time is Lars van der Hart. Still looking good. Thanks to all of you for getting on board with the comments. I can see lots of great chat going on amongst all of you, but we have got some thrilling racing going on here today. If you weren't with us for the women's race, don't worry, we won't give you any spoilers, but I recommend that you go back and watch that one as well. We had an absolutely phenomenal race in the elite women. Hermans Sweeck trying to get back up to Hermans ahead of him, but a dream return is it going to be today for Wout van Aert. There's a lot resting on this one for Wout van Aert. Pidcock gets safely over the top there. So does Dan Suter. Lars van der Hart lines up as Tom Meusen right behind him. We're getting into Tom Meusen season where he starts to go for those bunny hop records, doesn't he, at the sort of Waregem Masters, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. He's got a skill set. If you didn't check out the game of bike that we did with him mid-season, that is definitely worth a shot. He was jumping stuff as high as my waist, which, yeah, if you're in the if you're in the United States, about 3 feet high. I was literally jaw-dropping how high he was able to jump, and and instead I ran straight into the things that he was jumping, and I didn't have any chance of even coming close to matching what Tom Meusen can do. So yes, but a very good course for him on the racing side as well. Very fast, punchy, with a lot of technique involved. That's something for Tom Meusen.
It is indeed. Dolomite just asking Jeremy, and as Wout van Aert, our leader, is skirting the water. Why is Wout picking that line along the edge of the water? You've ridden these courses.
Yeah, you'd be a little bit firmer ground. The underground there will be a little bit stronger, a little bit firmer. The other stuff is just really choppy, and it feels like you're riding through, styrofoam or very thick grass. So it takes a lot of the speed and the momentum, and it just makes it heavy on your legs. This course today is not a heavy, muddy track. It's very fast, so the explosivity and the high cadence stuff really, really benefits a rider like Wout. But yeah, all the riders, I think, would benefit from going down that line. That's just the line that he's picked. We used to do a race over in Tokyo, CX Tokyo, and one of the things that you would do is if the tide was out, you'd ride all down in the water because it was the firmer area to ride it. So as you see there, Hermans going really wide on this line, and then coming off the bike, boom, 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 using that lower line, just coming straight through, looking very strong here today. Just to finish that comment up, I think that it's to each their own. When you're looking at the riders' line choices, you see here Sweeck really taking that higher line because he's able to dismount on that side. It's really for each their own. There isn't a right or a wrong. It's just what ends up being the thing that the rider finds to be the best on the day.
Wout van Aert of Jumbo-Visma. Behind him, it's Quentin Hermans from Tormund Cyclocross, which is Circus Wanty-Group Gobert on the road. Great to see these teams investing in our beautiful little sport of cyclocross. This man pressing on at the front, drops his head, looks back up. Wout van Aert, popular rider, hugely popular rider around the world. Hands on the top of those bars on that Bianchi bike. That's Celeste, iconic colour. Listen to the crowd banging the boards as Wout van Aert goes through. Starts lap 7 and 43.23 there for Wout van Aert going through. Here's your chasing group. Dan Suter is returning to some good form here in this one today. Bit of a shout out as Quentin Hermans goes through the line. Steve Glennon getting on board over on Twitter. Thanks for your tweet. Sean Mooney saying hi over there as well. So thanks all of you. Brian Travis getting in there, and Adam as well. Thanks for getting on board and saying hi over on Twitter. Swake, I think Swake's going to get some company on this lap, Jeremy, from Tone Arts and those chasers behind.
Definitely. I mean, everybody in that group has had a problem with their bike at some point, so these guys are all coming back. I think Hermans was able to mitigate it best, but Swake has rode a pretty flawless race except for that one crash in the turn. But then you're seeing the other riders. You saw Toon Aerts there having a problem with something on his bike. Unfortunately, dropped him off, but we know that in the last 15 minutes that Aerts is able to do a very strong effort. So Swake's going to need to think about that. And they, like I said, in the women's race, they study each other, Marty. They know every single thing that the other riders do. They know how they ride. They know how they are in technical sections. They know what sections they're good at and not good at. But here we are with that classic Toon Aerts last 15 minutes strikeout. Here he goes. He's going to the front, and he knows that he's got an opportunity here to get on the podium, and he's going to do everything that he can to put the Telenet Baliwaza team up on that third place step today.
Could we have a massive bunch sprint for the third spot on the podium? Wout van Aert. You can see he's got these sections there. I was just about to say completely dialed in, but that's the first time that we've seen him off and running on that one. Quentin Hermans remounts at the top of this. This is great for our sport, though, isn't it? When you see Wout van Aert and the Wanty Group Gobert team here, there's such a solid team on the road. They're one of the most, have always been one of the sort of most aggressive attacking teams on the road. It's great to see them investing in cyclocross.
Definitely, really great, and it's good to be able to see the kind of Hans van Kasteren coming back into cyclocross after selling the Telenet Balawaza team many years ago over to the group that manages Sven Nys, and now to see him come back and have a stake in cyclocross. I've heard that there could potentially be some women added to this program in the future, but definitely it's great to have him back in the sport and able to help kind of continue at this time when, yeah, there aren't a ton of jobs in cyclocross, and it needs new ideas. As we see here, that harder area down by the water. Also, my mom always used to say the straightest distance between 2 points, Jeremy, is a straight line. So that line that Wout van Aert is taking seems to be the best, fastest, most direct line, and he's not afraid to get a little bit of sand on those gears.
He's not, and Quentin Hermans, you see there, just riding right on the water.
One thing that I would say that I noticed there on the water, Marty, is that it does look like it, but it might be raining now. And I see people with their umbrellas out. So now that it's raining a little bit, you can see there on the lake, it is starting to rain now. Riders are throwing their glasses. So as predicted, the rain has started to come in, which is going to change potentially. We might see a couple bike changes coming in. If they were riding a little bit faster, slick tire, they're going to want to switch over to something like a Typhoon. But now you see that Pidcock's also said, hey, I'm happy with these conditions. Things are firming up. It's getting a little bit slicker, and so some of the riders are now having a little bit more trouble with this course. But definitely got to be a cyclocrosser. You have to know how the course is going to change and anticipate that. So these riders might have already had the tire pressure in to match what was going to happen mid-race. But if not, they're going to want to take a bike change to be able to get on point so that they have enough traction out there on this track.
Indeed, the weather forecast today, if you're interested, it was going to drop from about 12 degrees Celsius to 9 degrees. That's 54 to 49 as the afternoon went on. Cloudy earlier on, but rain, as Jeremy said, predicted at this point in the afternoon as Quentin Hermans slides through that section and gets up to the planks. There's a 23 km/h wind that's been blowing across this circuit as well. As Wout van Aert of Jumbo-Visma, the dream return here when he comes around next time. He's going to be getting close to taking this one today. Toon Aerts, Elisabeth looking to try and maybe take a podium at the end of this one as a way to cement and celebrate that DVV trophy overall.
Hermans is going to be wondering what might have been possible if he hadn't had that issue with his derailleur, but he still rode a really strong race on that cube. That bike looks super cool with the blue, silver, and red fade. He's riding a really good race today, Marty.
He is indeed, and Wout van Aert powers through that section. What does the year for him hold? And Elisabeth reacts. Pidcock gets up. Toon Aerts, this is a terrific battle that's lining up here as they drop off that section into the sand. It's constantly swinging backwards and forwards through this group. Swake looks like the steam might be coming out of his ears a little bit after the effort that he's made earlier on in this race, battling to try and stay with this one, as Dan Suter kind of tailing up this this group here. There's Sweet going through, then Suter, Eli Isabit and Tom Pidcock locked in their own battle now at the front. It was Pidcock that put Isabit in a world of pain in the World Championships last week when he put in his attack. Eli Isabit went with him, wasn't able to stay with Pidcock, and I think he hurt himself quite a lot last week when he tried to stay with Pidcock.
Hey, that's just making up for when Eli Isabit did that to him at the Koppenberg this year. So, you know, you take some, you lose some, but definitely today they both look like they're on great days. And I'd have to say that Pidcock looks like he's recovered a little bit from those early efforts of kind of closing down those gaps. It looks like he's got the course locked in a little bit more, and he's feeling it as you see Van Aert there in that deep rut coming through. He's got his fans out there. You can see the WVA hats that everyone is wearing. He's got to be having a lot of really just probably wild sensations as he comes through to be able to potentially be looking at his first victory of the season in a long time.
It's hard for us to imagine. I mean, Jeremy, you've been in there when the crowd are roaring you on, and it must just be it must just give you an absolutely phenomenal feeling. But for Wout van Aert, the thoughts must just be racing. The emotion must be just charging at this point.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of like a meditative state in a way. You know, you're not really thinking about anything. You're just focused on what's happening right now. Right now, he's in total time trial mode. This is very focused effort. He's not playing any games. He knows that there's a chase from behind. He knows that one small error could break that, you know, that gap that he has and turn it into half, and then he could be in a sprint situation. So he's very focused. He's laser locked. He knows this pressure. He's not afraid of what he's doing right now. He's just focused on trying to hit these lines, ride a clean race, and get through this next 7.5 minutes of racing.
Bell lap, Wout van Aert, we're on lap 8 of 8, and he goes through. 23 seconds is the gap back to Quentin Hermans. And barring disaster, Hermans looks good, a solid second place on the podium, but it is still all to play for in the battle for that third spot on the podium. Wout van Aert is your leader, Quentin Hermans your second place, and then we have that decent-sized group behind. I'm sure that we'll see battling, and here you have. Are we going to get a bunch sprint? Felipe Orts out of that corner. It's Swake, Isabit, Van Turenhout, Van der Haar, Arts, Suter, Pidcock, Mayusen, as Mayusen takes a glance back over the shoulder to Jens Adams, and there's your gap, just 56 seconds back to that group behind. Swake now comes to the front, digs in on that one, pushes the barriers to the limit. This is going to be a phenomenal fight. Could we get a bunch sprint for that third spot on the podium?
It's possible. It's definitely possible. You can tell that these riders know where the race is to. And right now, coming up that start-finish straight, there is a race to that first corner, because if not, you're going to be shuttled out and you're going to get the yo-yo effect, and you're not going to be able to match any of the efforts that the front runners have. So it really does, you know, you have to race from the front as Sweek now starts to turn up the pace. No one else is going to be able to pass. Van der Haar there. Toon Aerts trying to come past, but not quite up. Yes, he is able to get that line. So Toon Aerts knows, again, that he wants to put himself on the podium, but Sweek leaving a little bit in the tank after those first laps. We know he's clean. We know he's strong. We know he wants to get that Belgian champs jersey up on the podium, but definitely these riders know what they're racing to. And if you're not in the top 3-4 here, Marty, in this last group, coming into that sprint finish is going to be really, really hard. But then in the back, it looks like it might be, is it Tom Mayusen that's on the tacked on to the back of that group that might also want to have a stab at third place? But ooh, Aerts pulling the Mark McCormick there in the corner, putting a foot down, slowing everybody up.
Yeah, just, yeah, well, if you got that front position, if you make a little error, everyone behind you does, but Swake sprints past Toon Aerts and gets the front for Poel Sausenbingo, the Belgian champion. Then it's Van Turenhout, Van der Haar, Suter, Pidcock, and Isabit. There's your group. Can Pidcock get a little dab there for the British champion?
This is that section, Marty, where you're going to start. So you're going to start to see things come apart. Here you go. You can see these riders are on the rivet there. You see Pidcock's form, the bike kind of going all over the place, not very clean. You can see everyone in this group is a little bit flustered, just trying to get through. They're really pushing each other. So while those riders in the front have a nice consistent effort, these riders in the back have lulled, and now they're surging super hard and trying to make sure that they're pushing the pace as fast as they can to get that last spot on the podium today.
Yeah, Wout van Aert, you can see the effort dangling from his chin there. Wout van Aert as he goes through that section, and it shows how much he's having to push this one. You cannot let up at all in this position. The Jumbo-Visma rider, this is the reinforcement of the reason why Jumbo-Visma have signed this man, and hopefully it will allow them to build on their cyclocross program. The same goes for this team as well. Great to see these road teams investing in cyclocross. As Swake just kicks the water up as they ride through the edge of the lake there. This is going to be a great sprint. It's quite a long straight from that bottom corner, Jeremy, as Van Aert decides to dismount this time through the planks. Positioning wise through that final corner, second and third at worst through that final corner, would you say?
Definitely. I mean, yeah, coming onto the pavement, there is a lot of distance there, as we see Felipe Orts just in the background there coming into the picture. But there it is. There is Tom Mayusen. Definitely want to be in that first couple in the front. It depends on how the sprint goes. If the sprint starts early, it would not be a benefit to be that far back. If the sprint sits up on that road section, whoa! Now it's Van der Haar going to the front, Marty, going past his team leader Toon Aerts, going through, trying to maybe set something up for Toon Aerts or potentially put himself on the podium. This is a good track for him. As we see him come into this, though, this is his kryptonite. These barriers, he's going to probably just jump off, run over them, but that's why he wants to be in the front, to be able to use his skill set and force everyone else to have to go either around him or to slow down to his pace. So great move on behalf of Lars Van der Haar there to be able to get to the front, put himself in, like I said, boom, off. Now Sweek not able to come past him. Like I said, had to slow down. That section's just really slimy and slick underneath there, underneath the forest. So great move on behalf of Lars Van der Haar to put himself in the front of this race, Marty.
Great demonstration there. Just showed Lars Van der Haar drops the big bomb along the side of the lake to get himself up to the front to be able to take that section off and running, dictate the pace. He's still got the front. There is the demonstration of the experience of the man from Telenet Bauer's Alliance as Swake comes through to the front. Toon Aerts answers the call. Michael Van Toren now moves up shoulder to shoulder now for Toon Aerts and Lawrence Swake through that section. Hermans is looking solid in second place, but it's bouncing backwards and forwards between that group behind. Here is your leader, though, Wout van Aert from Jumbo-Visma. The crowd getting behind this man, the multiple world champion, super popular rider, has clawed and fought his way back to the top. Many would have thought that he might not have made it back onto the top step of the podium this season, but he answers the critics and he is going to take this one. Who is going to take the third spot, though? Swake and Toon Aerts are looking good. Suter, Pidcock, Isabit, Van der Haar now dropping towards the back of the group. Jens Adams is almost on to the back of this one.
Absolutely. As we see this battle for third place really heating up, and you see the fans absolutely freaking out to see Wout van Aert there. They're over the tape. They're 3/4 of the way into the course. They're yelling for him so much, just clapping. What a beautiful day here. The energy out at the DVV here in Lille is definitely on super high right now, as we see your leader, Wout van Aert, coming through to look at his first victory in a very, very long time here.
I bet we're going to see a huge amount of emotion from Wout van Aert as he come into the line. Yes, all the comments. I may shed a tear as well on this one. And here he comes round that corner. He is back. Wout van Aert has a glance back over the shoulder. The power of Wout van Aert, the return of the Grand Champion, rides down the home straight here for Jumbo-Visma. He is about to celebrate that first victory, gives his leg a bang. Boom. Wout van Aert returns, sits up, takes the applause, the celebration for Wout van Aert. Phenomenal victory. Gave his leg a little bit of a bang there. Here's your second place rider, Quentin Hermans from Tormund Cyclocross. It's a second place for him. Now, that sprint for third. Out of that final corner, we got one rider, we got two riders. We'll see where that sprint unfolds as Hermans rolls through. It's Laurent Swake that's got the front. Tonart is battling back. Here's Swake going to take that third spot on the podium here for Poel, Sals and Bingo as Tonart tries to find his way through barrier side. And it looks like Tonart is taking it right on the line. Beautiful finish there as Tonart takes third.
Oh, wow. That was something. That was something. Man, that was crazy. Swig tried to close the door a little bit there on Aerts, but Aerts not having it, putting down that big power output on the end. Knew he had the sprint, was able to take it, and he'll be rewarded with that effort.
Felipe Orts is going to ride in here for 12th, the Spanish champion, just outside that top 10. He's knocking on the door as well. It's great to see, but here's Thijs Arts. Just a few errors into the riding here of Thijs Arts. Was up there early on in the day for the Telenet Baloise Alliance. He is going to take 13th spot. And right behind him, Jim Arnouts crosses the line for good 14th for him. There's Corne van Kessel. Kind of the first off day that we've seen for quite a while for Corne van Kessel here in 15th.
Yeah, just looks a little overdressed, like got his jersey flapping. He's, not a great day. You know, not a great day. I would have to look back to see how he's done in the past, but that's all right. You're allowed to have a couple bad days. He's had such a solid season, so you can see the fans there just so psyched about seeing their big guy, Wout van Aert, able to take the win here today as we see some riders coming in, finishing up this one. This is a hard race, Marty. You're always got a lot of pain in your back from this one when you're done. Just such a sharp, hard, steep efforts out there all day, one after another.
Yeah, this is Yannick Peters coming in, and then Ute Willigen, I think, is the next rider that's going to cross the line. So Yannick Peters comes in. It is Ute Willigen. And I think we're going to get an interview with Wout van Aert here.
Laatste rechte lijn.
Ja, heel veel. Het is de eerste keer dat ik terug win. En, ja, dat is een bevestiging dat ik het nog kan.
Uiteraard, ik denk dat niemand eraan getwijfeld heeft, maar natuurlijk, je moet van ver terugkomen en dat moet dan allemaal nog maar gebeuren. Je hebt het jezelf niet makkelijk gemaakt, mag ik dat zeggen? Je bent van ver gegaan.
Ja, dat klopt. Ik voelde me eigenlijk van begin heel goed. En ik had rustig mijn tijd genomen om op te schuiven. Maar ja, bij dat er foutjes werden gemaakt, kwam ik eigenlijk in de achtervolging op Quinte te zitten alleen. En ja, ik wist dat dat het moment van de koers was dat iedereen op zijn limiet zat. En dat was de zaak van nog even door te duwen en proberen het verschil te maken.
Ik dacht heel even nog, hij gaat een soort museumgebaar maken. Hij gaat en been uit de klikpedaal, maar je sloeg erop. Het is duidelijk geweest voor de mensen wel.
Ja, ik heb mijn knie niet gebroken, dus dat zou weer wat verwarring veroorzaken.
Dat is inderdaad waar. Winnen, ja, het is natuurlijk het allerbeste wat een sportman kan meemaken. Wat maakt het dan los?
Ja, het is niet de grootste overwinning, maar wel eentje voor eigen volk waar ik een hele week al mee in mijn hoofd zat. En om het dan af te maken is vooral voor mezelf een heel mooie beloning. Dus ja, dat is toch wel emotioneel.
Kan ik me voorstellen. En vooral ook, en dat viel op, de mensen aan de kant. Het was een soort, ja, je wist perfect waar jij zat. Dat was heel duidelijk.
Ja, dat is natuurlijk heel leuk om voor het thuispubliek te rijden. En ja, ik heb hier het Belgisch kampioenschap gewonnen. Dat was een van de mooiste dagen in mijn carrière. En nu ook eindelijk een Krawatencross op mijn naam kunnen schrijven. Ja, ik denk dat ik er heel veel mensen hier in het dorp plezier mee doe. En ja, het was inderdaad heel leuk om tussen het volk te rijden vandaag.
Nog één ding, nu ben je in de winning flow. Je ging morgen nog rijden in Merckxwas, of je gaat morgen nog rijden. Men dreigt nu alles af te lasten, de voetbal is al afgelast. Het veldrijden nog niet voorlopig, maar het dreigt misschien wel afgelast te worden.
Ja, het is altijd nog een verschil tussen sport en spel natuurlijk, dus de cross zullen ze niet zomaar aflassen.
Die zochten we natuurlijk, hè. Die quote zochten we. Dankjewel, geniet van de overwinning. En we gaan meteen doorgaan naar Quinten Hermans, die denk ik met gemengde gevoelens terugkijkt op deze wedstrijd, want hij gaf duidelijk teken, ik heb vandaag wel de benen om misschien wel mee te gaan met Wout van Aert, of zie ik dat verkeerd?
Ja, winnen was wel moeilijk geweest denk ik, omdat ja, Wout rijdt ook wel...
Trek gerust aan, hè. Trek het gerust over je hoofd, anders zit het hier wat onhandig. Voilà, bij deze is dat wel gebeurd. Ritsje dicht, zo zijn we aangekleed. En zo is dat blote vlees weg. Oké, we waren gebleven bij.
Ja, dus we vinden dat sowieso wel moeilijk geweest, want ik kwam natuurlijk ook alleen achter Wout te zitten en hij reed verder weg. Dus. Maar ik denk wel dat ik in het wagonnetje even nog een paar rondes kon inpikken en dan had ik iets makkelijker tweede geworden, denk ik.
Was door die valpartij dat het schakelsysteem kapot was?
Ja, ik had, mijn shifter was al gezakt op mijn stuur de ronde daarvoor. En, het was niet super hard gezakt, dus ik dacht ik rij verder. Maar dat komt wel dat kabeltje onder spanning te staan. En ja, door die valpartij waarschijnlijk even zo geklikt en het kabeltje was eruit. En ja, dan kunnen we niet meer schakelen.
Ben je verrast dat de man naast jou het hier afgemaakt heeft met toch een vrij indrukwekkende solo?
Nee, omdat ja, ik ken Wout al heel goed. Vorige week op het WK zijn we bijna een week samen geweest. En je ziet dat hem gewoon terug in orde is. En dat hem gewoon een man is van voor de valpartij terug. En dat kan hem crossen winnen.
Nog één ding, mag er morgen voor jou gecrossed worden bij storm en ontij?
Ja, van mij wel. Als het voor ons niet te gevaarlijk wordt, dat er geen bomen op het parcours waaien. En, dat maakt er voor mij niet uit, dan mag er zoveel wind zijn als er wil.
Voilà, dat is gesproken. En we hebben nog denk ik de nummer 3, die gaan we daar zoeken. Die heeft zich nog niet gewassen, nog niet aangekleed. En dat is een man die, en dat was, ik ga niet zeggen verbazingwekkend, maar het viel wel op. Hij wou nog heel graag die derde plaats, tot op de laatste centimeter als het moest.
Ja, en ik had eigenlijk liever nog wat meer gehad, maar dat zat er niet meer in. En dat Quinte toch wel op een gegeven moment echt een heel snelle ronde reed en meteen een grote voorsprong bij elkaar kreeg. Dus dan was het focus op die derde plaats.
Ja, het was een dag en ik heb dat aan Sven Nys gevraagd. Hij zei ja, het zijn kleine foutjes, kleine technische foutjes en dat zorgt ervoor dat hij niet meer helemaal vooraan die wedstrijd gaat geraken.
Ja, ik had echt heel veel last vandaag met de sporen die zo kort langs de paaltjes gingen. En ik moet zelfs toegeven dat ik even in de koers had gedacht om zelfs eruit te stappen, dat parcours.
Echt waar?
Ja, ik kreeg het echt niet onder de knie. Mijn schouders liggen open omdat ik zoveel palen heb geraakt. Misschien is dat een gevolg van de jeugdinitiaties. Die jongens zijn heel wat kleiner en kunnen kort langs die paaltjes rijden. Maar met mijn 1,88 meter is dat iets moeilijker, zeker tegen die hoge snelheden. En ik vond echt mijn draai niet vandaag in die korte bochten.
Wout van Aert wint hier voor het eerst. Het is voor hem meer dan een jaar geleden. Is dat een verrassing voor jou of zeg jij nee, dit zat er wel aan te komen na de laatste weken?
Ja, we zagen Wout de laatste weken echt wel groeien. Op het wereldkampioenschap rijdt hij lek, maar anders zit hij er zeker mee tot in de laatste ronde voor die derde podiumplaats. En daarvoor kunnen we al ons respect wel op tafel leggen. Ik denk dat hij stil en klaar aan het geraken is voor het voorjaar. En ik denk dat wij als crosser allemaal mee supporteren voor hem.
Chiara, zegt jou dat iets?
Ja, dat zegt mij iets, ja.
Dat is de storm die er morgen aankomt. Hè. In Merksplas houdt misschien wel hun hart vast. De voetbal is al afgelast, voor alle duidelijkheid. Het veldrijden voorlopig nog niet.
Ja, ik hoop met alle veldritliefhebbers dat de veldrit in Merksplas kan doorgaan. Ik ben al een kijkje gaan nemen op het parcours.
Staan daar veel bomen?
Daar staan heel veel bomen, dus laten we hopen dat die allemaal nog in goede staat zijn. Dat er geen rotte bomen tussen zitten die toch op knakken staan. Ik hoop dat het allemaal veilig kan verlopen, maar ik hoop vooral dat de cross door kan gaan. Want het zou zonde zijn dat de eerste organisatie in Merksplas meteen op een sisser afloopt.
Inderdaad, we gaan dat allemaal moeten afwachten wat de weergoden beslissen. Dankjewel, Toon Aerts.
That was some sprint, wasn't it, Jeremy?
That was some sprint, yeah.
That was a brave sprint.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was talking a lot in that interview about just about his shoulder and that crash in Namur and coming back from that crash that he had there where he had, broken those ribs and had that injury on that side. And then, yeah, just thought that today was going to be possible, but that there was that little bit of a mechanical there that he had there. And then, yeah, he really thought that he had good legs today to be able to get there. But that's, in the end, this was what was possible, and the sprint is kind of the end of that. So great to see from Toon Aerts to be able to put it together, and what a champion to be able to come back from so much adversity, not just throughout the season, but again today.
There's your top 10. Wout van Aert is back. Quentin Hermans takes second. Toon Aerts in third. Laurent Sweeck at fourth. Michael van Toren out, Tom Pidcock, Lars van der Haar, Dan Suter, Tom Meeuwsen and Jens Adams. Your top 10, 52 seconds separating the top 10 today in the final round of the DVV Insurance Trophy from Lille. What a great day's racing. We are waiting for the podium. Oh, I feel a bit emotional after that. Who predicted the winner today?
Let's give it up for Marty. Let's give it up for Marty. Good job, Marty. Definitely, he's going to be psyched for that, as you are. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Belgian beers being drank by his fan club tonight. It's really good to be able to see the Wucha man, Wout van Aert, able to take his top step on the podium again.
It's good for cyclocross, though, isn't it? It's good for our sport to see Wout van Aert back and watching that progress from that return from his crash in the Tour de France, because it was almost a career-ending crash, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it possibly could have been very, very detrimental. But that's the beauty of being in the program that he was in and being able to get that good help and support from the team, and being able to know that things weren't done right the first time, having to go back in there, get that second surgery done, and then go through all the rehabilitation. It's not something that you would wish upon anyone, but it's the reality. Riders do get injured. It's part of sport. I had plenty of injuries over my career, as have many riders. So it's all in how you deal with them and the setbacks and how you come back from them that make you stronger and better.
Yeah, make sure you can join me on Instagram at MartyBackTV, and I'm going to make Jeremy do it as well as we start our Dutch lessons over and our Flemish lessons over. We'll try and we'll do that over the course of the year. We'll keep you up to date on that one. So we'll do our best on those ones. Let's have a look back through the elite men's race. What a race it was! Let's take you through some highlights. Laurens Sweeck, Elisabeth Toonaerts, Quentin Hermans. There's Tom Pidcock along the front, and you can see from this start here, Jeremy, how far back Wout van Aert was right at the start.
Absolutely, yeah. He was back there in third place. But like I said, Marty, with the prestige that he has and the palmares that he has a lot of respect in this group, and they're able to let him sneak through some holes that maybe they wouldn't close. You saw towards the end there, when the racing's down, there's no friendships, there's no one cared about anything. But at this point in the race, they're able to open some doors and let him make his way through. He's also very, very strong, so he doesn't have to ask. But there it was, Laurens Sweeck with that fast start. Unfortunately, this is where the wind was taken out of his sails. He ended up losing the front to Quentin Hermans, and it was Hermans that went off in pursuit of the win today. But then it was Wout van Aert that chased him down and was able to make connection with the new team, with the Thormans rider, and then they ultimately linked up for a head-to-head battle.
It was indeed. Wout van Aert getting on there. There was Elisabeth, the leader overall. He runs out the winner of this series. That's a great result for him. But from this point on, it was all about the Jumbo-Visma man, and that team will be super happy to see him back and going into the road season in a winning fashion. Skirting the water there, the fastest line through that section. Sweeck and Hermans behind. As that chasing group will all come back, and Hermans would ride clear for that second spot. But once he got into his rhythm, and Q Sales in Celeste coloured bikes, I think, for as going into next season.
Definitely, yeah, and we had seen there it was, Van der Haar made that big gap, ended up slowing down those guys, able to run that section, but then they came over the top of him and ended up coming back around. Van der Haar not able to pull up that third spot, but it was this man here, Marty, your call.
That's it, yeah. Wout van Aert sits up, salutes the crowd. Super emotional ride today for Wout van Aert as he crosses the line to take that one. Quentin Hermans rides in for a solid second. He'll be the, but you can just see coming out of that corner, Sweeck and Aerts. Look at this finish, and we saw that photo finish. Toonaerts rides the barriers and comes through to take that one. That's got to be one of the best finishes, I think, that third spot that we've had so far this season.
Well, this is the second time that Toonaerts has done this. This week in Maldehem, he also wheelied across the line and was able to just get past for that last spot on the podium. So, he's been doing it. He has been doing his thing, and he's been definitely working on those sprint finishes and coming back from all the setbacks that he's had this year. It's great to be able to see him landing himself on the podium and being that champ that he is.
Yeah, he is indeed. I think Wout van Aert's making his way to the podium now. For Jumbo-Visma, plenty of celebrations abound, I think. And Quentin Hermans, I think, comparing the cold in the fingers there, I think.
I think they're actually talking about just how bumpy the track was, and their fingers and the calluses that are maybe kind of rubbed off, and just how much their hands hurt. So yeah, I know that from racing a lot of cross, I still have calluses on the insides of my thumbs and on the insides of my pointer fingers. So yeah, I'm sure it had something to do with that. Quentin Hermans today in his interview did talk about that cable a little bit that came undone from the Shimano. I think they just it unplugged maybe through one of those turns. He caught it on maybe a twig on a tree or something like that. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but it does happen even to the pros. Even when you keep those cables super short, unfortunately, with a quick crash or something like that, they'll fall. You can see there in the back, the gentleman in the blue, that is the doping control officer. He'll be following around. I believe it looks like he was following Wout van Aert, but they will keep an eye on the riders all throughout after they're done to ensure that everyone's riding at a fair playing level. So it's great to see that everyone's just there having a good chat after the race, smiling amongst friends. These guys have raced against each other so much over the years that you're seeing that. And then you see Illy Iserbyt, Michael van Tornhout coming in the overall, and that's our friend Erwin Vervecken there in the back in that little green coat there.
Yeah, Owen Vervecken, always great to chat to. Tornhout on to the podium. A hard-fought third place. What a sprint by the Telenet Bauweiser Lions rider. That's a great lesson to all of you out there. If you're going out to race this weekend, sprint through the line. Takes that one. Right. You saw the frustration of Laurent Swake as he knew he was beaten there, wasn't it?
That was definitely frustration. There's no question. I mean, to be so close yet not get it, that's definitely going to be a disappointment for him tonight.
Indeed. Quentin Hermans, Tormans cyclocross, takes second place. You can see the riders getting ready as well for tomorrow. Those protein shakes in the back pockets. Going to make sure that they recover ready for tomorrow. There's a big storm about to hit as well, many places. So we will see how that, if that affects anything tomorrow. So there's this massive storm about to hit, or has started to hit Europe. So yeah, we'll hopefully no problems with that one tomorrow. You can see the Toyo Tires guy there. We got that Toyo Tires quick start. We've waited to be able to say this one. Wout van Aert, your winner today. He is back. The Jumbo-Visma rider. You can hear the love from the crowd for Wout van Aert on to the top step of the podium. I'll just let you
listen
hear
to
the
crowd there. Yeah.
It's a special moment for the Jumbo-Visma man, and he'll get that massive keg. I think they'll crack that one open. Emotional round, isn't it?
That is, I believe, Wout van Aert's father there, just with a couple of tears, just really happy to see his son be able to be back on that top step of the podium after going through so much to get there.
There is. So thanks all of you for your company today. Thanks for all your good chat going on. I can see on the chat sections. There is your podium. Wout van Aert from Quentin Hermans and Tornhout's 3 teams represented up there as well. Jumbo-Visma, Tormans and Telenet Bauweiser Lions. Yeah, as I said there, we kind of waited a little bit. We've been waiting to see Wout van Aert on the top step of the podium. Before we have some chat, let's have a look at the DVV Trophy. General classification overall, Elie Iserbyt takes it 5 minutes and 19 ahead of Michael van Tornhout. Mathieu van der Poel drops to third at 7:43. Van Kessel, Van der Hamer, Lim, Houston, Adams, Arts and Swake, 18 minutes and 19 seconds, separating that top 10 overall. They have brought us quite a lot of celebration this season, haven't they? And Elie Iserbyrt's got to be super happy taking such a prestigious series after stepping up to elite.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm sure that there's a bonus to have won that overall. I'm sure there's a big financial gain to have at the end. I believe the men's and women's at the DVV was matched equally this year, so I know everyone's going to be going home happy with some funds in their bank accounts, and they're going to be really excited to have this one down and one more to go. So they've got a few races left, but overall, this closes out the DVV Trophy for the year, Marty.
I think I'll check with Sid if we can see the overall podium with Elie Iserbyt and Michael van Tornhout that we've got up there. We'll have a quick look at that. They're on the podium. There they are, Elie Iserbyt and Michael van Tornhout on the podium for the DVV Trophy overall as they just make their way off there. I thought you'd like to see that one quickly. A great day's racing that we had here. If you don't want to know the results of the elite women's race, if you want to go back and watch that one a little bit later on, you can look away in 5 seconds time. We'll go and have you show you a phenomenal day's racing here in 3, 2, 1. Let's have a look at the racing. The DVV Trophy, the final race of the season and the first outing for the new rainbow jersey. Celine Del Carmen Alvarado, Sanne Cant in the Belgian champions jersey. Annemarie Hurst, Inge van der Heijden, all fast off the start line. But it would be Annemiek van Alphen in the black, blue and red that would get the best starts out of everyone. Quickly into the lead, it was Celine Del Carmen Alvarado and Annemarie Hurst, while Sanne Cant behind with Anna Kay, Annemiek van Alphen and Inge van der Heijden chasing hard. It was a technical day for the riders. Alvarado led out, but there would be a tumble for the world champion that would allow Annemarie Hurst to get back into the front of the race. She went down heavy, but she picked herself up, none the worse for wear, and Hurst got back into contention. Alvarado pressing on with Annemarie Hurst. They have been locked in a battle for much of the season, these two riders. And at every opportunity, they push their way back through to the front. One way, then the other. The Annemarie Hurst and the early part of the season would have had the better of Alvarado in the sprint, but in the world, it was Alvarado that got the better of her Dutch teammate on that occasion. Into the home straight. Hurst had the front. Alvarado kicked on, and for the second time in successive races, it was a Celine Del Carmen Alvarado who took the victory and the first in the rainbow jersey of a world champion. Annemarie Hurst settling for second place, while behind the 17-year-old junior world cyclo-cross champion Shirin van Anrooy managed to distance Inge van der Heijden for third. On to the men's race, and Ellie Isabit in the centre for Poel Bingo leading in the DVV Trophy. Overall ahead of a non-starter Mathieu van der Poel with Michael van Toornout over 5 minutes down. So the general classification in the DVV Trophy pretty much sewn up for Ellie Isabit. It was Laurence Sweeck of Poel Bingo that opened up proceedings and led us from the start ahead of a leading group that was headed up by Tom Pidcock, but also contained Toon Aerts, Michael van Toornout and Quentin Hermans. Digging in on the sand, Sweeck went down. It allowed Quentin Hermans back into proceedings, but in the chasing group behind, Wout van Aert of Jumbo-Visma was gradually closing down the gap to the front of the race. After a pretty much third row start, he would make it up to the leader, while behind Ellie Isabit was leading his two teammates, Van Toornout and Sweeck behind. Wout van Aert got the front, and it would be his race from there on in. A mechanical problem for Quentin Hermans would mean that he would need a bike change, but the Jumbo-Visma man was looking to take his first cyclo-cross victory since Pontchâteau in January 2019. He was opening up a gap and looking like the Wout van Aert of old. The chasing group behind was coming together as the likes of Toon Aerts got back into contention. Van Aert could not let up at all. He was pressing on at the front and holding his advantage over the second-placed man into the final section of planks. Lars van der Haar had got the front, while at the head of the race, Wout van Aert was riding to victory. Go right down to the final few meters. Laurence Sweeck led out. Toon Aerts came barrier side, and in a bold, brave move, the Telenet Bauwasser Lion rider came through for third. Oh, what a day It's got to be one of my
Well,
favorite days of the season so far, Jeremy.
that was awesome racing all the way around. I know the battle between Annemarie Worst, and then we didn't mention it, but Yara Kasterlein starts after that big injury in Muldehem and able to hang on to third place overall in the standings, which I think is pretty awesome. You know, she went out there, she kitted up, she got out there, and she was able to hang on to that spot. Had she not started, she would not have solidified her overall standings, third place. So good on her. Tip of the hat to her for being able to get up and get out there and make it happen.
Big, bold and brave. That was a move for Yara Kasterlein today. Great sprint there in the end. But what can you say about today's racing? Wout van Aert is back. We will be back with you tomorrow. Have a great day from Jeremy and myself. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.